What up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. This is A2D Wednesday nights. Eagles, Rams, we're breaking it all down. We got a little snowball coming up. Let's go.
I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin.
Welcome in, everybody. This is A2D Wednesday nights, only on A2D Radio. Every Wednesday, we are brought to you by our doc, Make Them Yours, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, location in Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. As always, we got Mikey Buckets, Greg Milakovic, Luke Brown, Heel Chrome. I'm Tom Arnone. No Eaton will be with us shortly. So that's what we got there. Sixers, Knicks recap. If you give a shit, we'll talk about it. Eagles, Rams, main topic at hand, preview, score predictions, players of the game, and we'll get right into our poll question because we took a major hit this week, even with a win. And that hit was, our Mike linebacker, Nakobe Dean. It ties into our poll. The Eagles defense will still play at a high level against the Rams despite missing Nakobe Dean. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. That's where we're live. Everywhere you get your podcast, we're there as well. Hit the like, subscribe, follow. Most importantly tonight, join the conversation. No, they won't. They'll be okay because they signed Nicholas Mora. So they're right where they're supposed to be. No. Listen, it's a hard one because I think he's been really overlooked this year because of the emergence of Zach Baun. Like, Zach Baun's had such a great year. Like, first team, all pro type stuff, right? Where it almost makes Nakobe look like he's had like a little bit of a down year, right? I think that's where we're at. Not a down year, but it makes his year look like it's just like, oh, okay. But if he was our only linebacker, right, I think we would understand the loss even more. And I think we do. Thankful we didn't lose both of them. But I think they're going to take a little hit. Just the more I think about it, he is their signal caller, but they're still really good. And they're really good at every level. But I think the big hit comes in the running game. And if we're talking about snow on Sunday and some of the conditions we're talking about, I think that's definitely a loss. What's a high level? Like, do I think we hold everybody to 10 points? No, I think we take a little bit of a loss with it. But I still think our defense is still a top 5 defense in football without them. We're just maybe not the best. But we're physical. And I was saying to somebody earlier, isn't it nice? Like, it represents Philadelphia, what we are. Yeah. And everybody talks about it. Like, we have physical teams. Right? We beat you up. And we wear you down, not only with our offensive line, but our defensive line as well. So when you look at that, there's going to be a drop-off. There's no way there's not. It's a big loss. But then we talk about on Sunday, it's not Ray Lewis, but the guy's had a tremendous year. Yeah. So how do you say it's not a loss? But it's next man up. You still got a lot of great pieces around it. I mean, I guess I'm going to disagree because I still think they can play at a high level. As much as I think it's a loss, I still think they can play at a high enough level to get to where they want to get to. So I'll disagree, even though I ran around in circles there a little bit. Because I want to make it clear, this guy's a tremendous player. And this is a terrible injury. And this does hurt us. Who last week, because somebody last week on this show was like all injury up, like hoping other players got hurt. And somebody said, like, oh, that's goaltending. And somebody said, like, oh, that's bad karma. Well, here we are. So I don't know who said it, but I might have to suspend you for a week. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me. I don't want to suspend you. I think it might have been Greg.
Probably was me.
I feel like it was you. I feel like
it sounds like something I'd say. It sounds like something I'd say for sure.
Look what you did. All right, patella tendon. Okay, call you Greg patella tendon.
Yeah, I couldn't even get like an easy ACL or MCL. We had to go with the tendon that takes 2 to 3 years to come back from. Right?
Yeah, modern guys who never come back from that.
Yeah, modern medicine will be fine. You guys know how I feel about modern medicine. Unless
you say that all the time. That's always you.
Unless
you do out, right?
Yeah. 20 years from now, you're going to be like, this guy was talking modern medicine in 2025. What a moron he was.
We'll just 3D print one.
Yeah, we'll print it out. So I disagree.
Yeah, no, I'm going to agree to the poll. And it's not to understate the loss, obviously. And, I consider Dan Orlovsky one of the best.
Sorry. I agree too, Chrome. Then I agreed to it. Then I don't know. I was saying disagree. I got it wrong.
of breaking down tape, right? And one of the things that he said that the Eagles do so well is when they bring their front four, they bring different guys. And I do think, backing off of the point that he has, it's going to be interesting because they do use Zach Bond quite a bit in those scenarios when they bring an extra guy to go after the quarterback. And part of the reason you can do that, right, is because Nakobe Dean is there. Oren Burks, he did okay, right? And Morrow, he's been here before, but he's not familiar with this defensive scheme. So I'll be interested to see how that works out. But I still believe, like, to me, and I've said this before, the biggest guy that you could lose on the defensive side, there's two. Obviously, Jalen Carter is one of them, because when you talk about your front pass rush. But to me, every time he has not been on the field this season, CJGJ has been the link to that sticks, the glue that has stuck this defense together, because they're covered on the outsides. It's always the middle of the field, and a lot of that is the linebackers, and it's been CJGJ. But when you had those two linebackers on the field, and Gardner Johnson's not been there, they have been absolutely shredded. So I believe as long as he is on the field, they are still a solidified unit in the middle. You're going to have a drop-off. And what I feel even worse about is, this kid, we've talked about it for years. Is he ever going to hit his potential, right? And then injury issues became a thing. And he came out this season, and I mean, he was absolutely fabulous from day one. Took the job from Devin White, who was a former All-Pro, took the job coming out. Everybody thought, including a lot of us, that would be tough to do, but he came out and he showed exactly why. And this seemed to be his coming out party. And this is just like the worst case scenario for this young man. So I hope that he is able to come back from this. But in terms of the team and the unit, I think that they'll be able to overcome this. It's not the worst case scenario on the defensive side, although it's a major blow.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree. And I made the point before this game, and obviously losing him kind of changes that a little bit. But at least for what we know now, right? I think it's safe to say that out of every unit in the playoffs, both offensively and defensively, units still remaining, I think that there's so much bad press that comes out about the Eagles' offense that not enough good press comes out about their defense. And I'm here to say that out of all the units, offensive and defense, is still remaining in the playoffs, a case could be made that the Eagles' defense is actually the best unit out of all of them. So while all this bad press is coming about the AJ in the book, even though I think it's stupid, it doesn't mean anything, and Jalen and whether or not he played well enough to move him forward in the playoffs, end of the day, I think it's time that national media starts to get with the program, starts understanding the defense is going to be the unit that really drives this team to a Super Bowl if it can get that far. So I'm going to agree, because I think that they're still eligible, more than eligible, to win a Super Bowl. And I think the lead factor in that is the defensive unit for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely overlooked.
Yeah, look, and to your point too, like, Jalen doesn't have to be 2022 Jalen for this team to win a Super Bowl. 2022, he had to be that for that team to win the Super Bowl. He doesn't have to be that this year, particularly with Saquon Barkley on the offensive side, and then with how unbelievable this defense is. Like, it takes a lot off. I mean, he needs to be a little bit better than he was the other day, but I also don't think he was as bad as people made him out to be. I just think it was a really good defensive scheme against them, which made it very hard for a guy coming off of a 3-week break for all intents and purposes, in a playoff game. And I expect him to be better. But, like, the defense is going to be what wins this team a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of good offenses out there that can sling it. But the defense is what separates the Eagles from every other team in the league.
I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
If you want a reckless Jalen too, because all these people are crying about him, the yards he throws, if you want that version of Jalen, then you get the version of Jalen we got in week 1 against Green Bay. And that was not even close to our best version. Not even close. So I don't want that. And I'm not going to be back crying for that.
I'm tired of this. I don't understand why we're so up in arms after a win. in the playoffs. Like, I'm the most critical guy in the
I
country.
never understood it.
All right. I'm the most critical guy in the country, but it's about winning. I don't give a shit what his numbers are. If I cared, I wouldn't have told you week 5 to stop throwing them over 25 attempts a game if you wanted to win football games. Like, this is right in front of our face. Or we can try to fit a square peg into a round hole and see if it continues to fit, or we can just go find the round hole. Right? We found some round to put in the round thing. That's what we found here. So why do we care? And this happens everywhere, not just in Philadelphia. I'm gonna make this clear. I'm tired of people in the group being like, "Oh, Eagle fans are morons." It happens everywhere. Get in groups from outside of Philadelphia, there's 0.5% of them, 50% of them are morons. Okay, that's what you deal with in sports. Half the people are dryer sheets that have no clue what they're talking about. They just like the game. Okay, and then the other 50% actually have a feel for life. Like, I'm all about winning. I don't know when we got to be so critical after wins of everything, from a book to jail we just watched the 85 Bears play again defensively. And this city is built on toughness and defense. And we got the most physical offensive line and defensive line in the game. And we're over here worried about how many yards the guy throws for. Like it's fantasy sports. Man, he has flaws, but everybody does. But at the end of the day, he's the goddamn winner. And I'll be critical of the way he throws at times and he looks stiff. I get it. I watch. I got eyes. But at the end of the day, he wins. And is it all on him to win? No. But every single time they need a drive, he delivers. I don't know how much you guys got to watch it. It's right in front of our face. He loves playing with his food. He loves, we're not going to go up 17-0. Let's go 10-3. Now we're going to drive. Oh, you know what? Hold on. We're up 2 scores. Let him go on a drive. All right. We got another one. And that's how he answers it. He answers it every single time. And I've been critical of the guy. But goodness gracious, we can't see this.
Even if you go to last year's woes and how, maybe it was a little bit of a smokescreen with how bad the defense was last year, and that opening of what a smokescreen that was, the reason they were as good as they were is because of Jalen Hurts in the fourth quarter when they needed drives against Buffalo, Miami, Kansas City. You could go week after week after week after week where he went and came back with big drives. Like, the one thing I think we can't say about him is that more often than not, when you need a drive in the last 5 minutes of a game, he comes through in terms of leading the offense down the field. And that's been 3 straight years running.
Yeah, I'm going to agree to the poll.
Eli Manning won two Super Bowls, playing his entire career every game like that, stinking for the first 52 minutes of a game or 55 minutes of a game, but closing every game out. I mean, fucking Big Ben's a Hall of Famer. And a lot of it is because of how, when they needed a drive, he was as clutch as you'd ever seen. And he would stink up a lot of games.
I'm going to agree to the poll. I think the defense still plays at a high level. I think weather has a factor in that too. You're playing a California team. They're to come into the trenches, freezing cold, whether it's snow, rain, sleet, or just 28 degrees. It's going to be freezing cold, California team. And I think that plays into our favor also, not only it being a home game, obviously, but just as far as offensively, the run game, get that going. And listen, Jalen Hurts, yes, he has flaws. Like Tom said, he's a winner. I think the biggest flaw that we're having problems with is him getting rid of the ball. He needs to get rid of the ball. He holds on to it far too long. And I think that's what's killing people, not so much how many yards he gets. And there's people out there bitching about yards and passing touchdowns, but it's really how long he holds the ball and him not getting rid of it quick. I think that's the biggest concern. But as far as the weather, I think it plays in our favor. And I think the defense plays at a high level also because of it. It's going to be hard to run routes like Cooper Kupp, Nakua, some of the best route runners in football. Hopefully they have a tough time getting traction.
Yeah, 11 degrees. Right. Snow.
Talk to me.
Not ideal for the LA Rams.
And especially coming off the emotional week that they've had.
Yeah.
I still don't like this.
They blew their emotional load.
Right.
They blew their you would think, right. You would think they blew their emotional load last week and they were almost unstoppable. Especially early on, right?
But I mean, also, let's not forget, Darnold is a statue in the pocket, right? So it's a totally different thing than playing us.
Right.
Well, no, that's what I'm also saying too. I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to say that Sam Darnold held the ball far too long, and the Rams had like 7-8 sacks, and they had a field day, that defense. So I just hope that Hurts does not do that in the passing game. Just get rid of the football. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not even going in those directions.
Better offensive line though too.
I'm just telling you guys, like, I can see this storyline. Right? I've been saying it for a week since we knew who it was. I can sniff this storyline out a mile away. Right? I could actually sniff it out 3,000 miles away in Jersey. That's how much I can sniff it out because I can feel it. Where's the Super Bowl being played at, ladies and gentlemen?
New Orleans.
New Orleans. What happened in New Orleans not that long ago? Yep. Right? We know. We don't got to talk about it. What's happening in LA right now? NFL loves their storylines. Where would Matthew Stafford go next week?
Detroit.
I'm just lining it up for you. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong thinking that way.
The NFL loves that shit.
And
every NFL fan all season have wanted us to play Detroit. Everyone's been wanting that.
Of course. Until the virus broke out.
But then situations happen, right?
I'll go as far to say that they would have an easier time even marketing that, and that people would be so upset if we lost and didn't get to see that. Or if they lost and the Commanders won.
You need to pump your brakes for a minute, because if you think
I'm serious,
the national fan base wants the Eagles anywhere in a
no, they'd want us to lose in that game. That's what they would want to see that game. They'd want us to lose in that game.
All right, fair. They would also have no problem with us losing this week.
No.
Yeah.
I'm obviously like going very deep into that. I don't think the Rams win this football game, but I'm just giving you guys a little, oh man, I don't like these dots connecting. That's all.
Sure,
it more scares me than anything else. It doesn't.
And it all makes sense. It all makes sense. To the poll though, I'm going to continue the agree train. I like what I've seen from
35 this week.
I like what I've seen from the other guys around the defense as well, right? We've seen an emergence in the second half of Nolan Smith. I mean, the dude's been a monster towards the back half of this season, and he was the best player on the field on Saturday or Sunday, whenever we played last, right? Jalen Carter still continues to be a monster. And then you look Zach Baldwin having a great year, and then our rookies and Slay and as you brought up CJ, right? There's a bunch of other guys there that can build this and continue this high level. And then I also look at who most likely is going to be that replacement in Trotter Jr., right? You have a pedigree kid, might not be looked at as the same level, not even necessarily his dad, but just like a legit NFL every day on middle linebacker or just linebacker in general, right? But now he gets the nod most likely, or is at least going to get more snaps, and he's going to have that opportunity to prove that he can play in this league. And I enjoy looking at guys that have a track record of being around the sport from their family, and then having them go out and improve that they can do the job. Right, that they can make the play and make an impact. So I'm agreeing. I don't want to say I don't miss a beat, right? Because I do think that the loss of Nakobe is huge, but they still continue to make plays and they still continue to be the dominant force that this team that they've been for this team for the entire season or since week 5.
What's up, fellas?
What up,
I
Noah?
agree. I agree to the poll. First and foremost, especially since we're playing the Rams, I'll put football aside for a second. Hey, my thoughts to everybody out in Southern California who are going through this horrible tragedy. And jokes aside, to be honest, wish we'd send the rain out there to give the firefighters a little aid in putting out all that, what are these fires, like 20% contained, if that, at this point? I mean, I didn't read yet. Depends on where you're going. I know there's, a lot of destruction everywhere.
Palisades is like 18% contained.
Right.
Eaton's like 45% contained. So, yeah.
But, yeah, obviously they're going to need a lot of help, a lot of support, and they could definitely use some rain. That being said, though.
Well, the Rams are going to get it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to get a lot of rain. Most importantly, they're going to get a lot of our defense in their offensive backfield all day. Don't get me wrong, Nakobe Dean's a big loss, and hopefully he can make a full recovery and come back at some point next year. But I think the secondary's been playing very well, and I think it's really important for our front four to continue to get good pressure on the quarterback, and I think that'll take some pressure off the linebacking unit. That's going to be important, and I think our secondary will lock it down. You still have Zach Vaughn at the other linebacking spot, and hopefully Trotter's kid can come up big. And I honestly, I don't think this defense is going to miss a beat. They've been playing well, since the week 4 disaster in Tampa. They've, go back to week 4. Well, from then on, they've been rock solid since. And, despite the hiccup in Washington, other than that, they've been absolutely lights out getting after the quarterback and minimizing the opposition. I mean, Green Bay is, they weren't the 1997 Packers, but they were pretty damn good, and we were able to stifle them for 4 quarters. And I really think special teams came up with that big fumble recovery, and we didn't look back. Honestly, this defense won't have a problem. I agree to the poll, and don't be surprised if the Rams don't reach double digits on the scoreboard.
Oh my God!
Hey, it's going to rain. We'll be snow thrown in, and our defense is just that much better than the Rams' offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, both sides of the football. Obviously, I think our offensive line, like they did the last time we played them, they sort of bullied them up front for sure. So you would expect a little bit more of that. But
Saquon might go over 200 again.
Yeah, that's hard to do twice, I think.
Well, maybe not 250 again, but
yeah, I mean, you think that they're going to do everything in their power to the game plan to try to contain him, I'm sure. My guess is they're going to try to make you beat them by throwing the football. Doesn't mean you still can't run the football, though. I mean, when you're that good at what you do, you do what you do.
Yeah. And again, we talk about the threat of running the football isn't just Saquon, right? That's where Jalen comes in huge, and Jalen's, I don't even know what I'm saying, but Jalen's ability to run the football also adds to that, right? They can't just load the box for Saquon because Jalen has the ability to, either obviously pull it himself or throw it, and that obviously adds a different wrinkle to that. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we have the best offensive line in football. I think we're going to will our way to running the ball right down their throat from beginning to end. Of course, yes, Jalen's going to have to make a few plays through the air, but I think it's a similar recipe just like last week. And hopefully we'll have a little more consistency offensively. But I was listening before I came on to you guys for a little while there. And look, I agree. I don't care if Jalen only has 10 yards passing. I really don't. Just win the damn game. He came in, he got us some drives when we need it. And the bottom line is he didn't turn the ball over. He didn't try to do too much. He wasn't out there trying to play hero ball. He did exactly what we needed him to do for us to advance. It's all about surviving and advancing.
Absolutely. And the other thing too, you look at this defense, and even throughout the entire season, you take that Tampa game early in the year as an example, right? The whole team looked like garbage. Well, what was the team that came out in the second half and actually looked like that they wanted to be there for that game, right? It was the defense. You saw throughout the entire season, Rams game included, right? They went down the field twice in the first two drives of the game. Thankfully, we had that fumble and it wasn't 14-0, right? But the defense, even though they might start out slow trying to figure it out, Vic Fangio is able to make those adjustments and get that defense in a position where they're able to then go attack and give this offense the ability to, not always look great, but get enough points to get the job done to win games. So you look at this scenario with Nakobe being out, I think it's another example of just having Vic make an adjustment and then watching them go do it and go make the plays.
And on the offensive side of the ball, I'd like to see us use the middle of the field. I feel like everything is out routes. Everything's on the sidelines. Let's use the middle of the field. You have A.J. Brown, throw him a slant once in a while. Or Goddard. Like, I feel like that taking chances, we've gone away from it. Now, there's a fine line between dumb chances and turnovers and just taking a chance. I feel like Hurts has lost taking a chance completely. But the guy wins, so there's nothing you can say about it. But I'm just saying there's multiple times in that Packers game where you can just put him away, and it's 3rd and 8. And you could blame the play calling, too. You could be Kellen Moore. It's not all on Hurts. But you're throwing a swing pass to Saquon Barkley on 3rd and 8.
Yeah, see, that's where I literally had this same conversation literally earlier today about not using the middle of the field, right? And it's interesting to think about, right? Because is it Jalen? I don't know that it is, because if you really look at Kellen Moore's history as an offensive coordinator, he did use the middle of the field a little bit last year when he was with the Chargers, right? But in Dallas, everything was your big receiver on the outside, your speed guy, your tight end, and your running back. He never used the middle of the field in Dallas, really either. So I don't really know. I almost feel like that's more of a scheme thing, right? Because when Shane Steichen was here, Jalen threw over the middle of the field quite a bit. So I don't know if that's Jalen or if that is scheme, because I'm just going by what I've seen from each person. I don't see that in Kellen Moore's game plan historically.
This is the problem. When you are a team that uses the middle of the field, they aren't long developing plays. So I'm going to continue to reiterate that I'm not putting any of this on the coaching staff, because good coaching staff, teams that win 14 games and win a playoff game, they usually put their players in the position to be successful, or they wouldn't be there. So as much as like the Jalen guys with the jersey above their bed, right? The poster guys, not you, Crum, but like the poster guys will go right to the coaches. Well, it's a play call. Well, if I throw slants, I got to go. It's not his strength. We watch it. Now, he can throw over the middle of the field. We've witnessed it, right? He can get the ball out of his quick out of his hands to AJ on slants, but it feels like he's not comfortable enough with it. And they more feel like those plays break down because he doesn't necessarily create his own throwing lanes to make those throws easier on him. I think that's the problem with the middle of the field. I don't think they don't want to call it, because they have 3 guys, if you count the tight end, that can beat guys in man-to-man coverage all day on slants and crosses and stuff like that. I just think they play more to the outside of the hashes because that's more Jalen's strengths. Not that he can't do it. It's just that we see him hold the ball out. He doesn't like to get rid of the ball quick. So that could be part of it. They could be calling stuff. They could be calling slants. We don't know unless we really go back and watch the tape. Like, not saying they do all the time. But my point is, there's probably plays that I'm sure are crosses and different things like that, where maybe there's some of the plays where he's holding on to the ball, got to get out of the pocket, because he just doesn't trust what he sees. Not blaming him for anything, just saying.
I don't know if they really have a true slot receiver on this team right now either. And that, like in 22, I felt like they had more of a slot receiver, right? I don't know that they have that.
And I brought this up because I thought in that Super Bowl run, the most important player in my eyes was Zach Ertz. I mean, we won a Super Bowl on a Zach Ertz slant. So and 4th downs, 3rd downs, 3rd and 8s, 4th down, he's your guy. You know it's going to him. You can't stop it. There's nothing you can do about it. I would love to see that implemented. And I hate when people say, Philadelphia fans are always complaining. We win, we won. I get that point too. But we're also super intelligent. I mean, we could praise so many things. A.J. Brown, this defense, Jalen Hurts, Saquon, the list goes on and on. Vic Fangio. It's easy to praise. It's harder to find the little things that we don't do right. And that's why we bring it up. And I just think the middle of the field has been an issue this year. And I think part of it, like Tom said, it's getting the ball out quick. I don't think Hurts is comfortable getting the ball out quick.
I do think they use Dallas a lot different than they use Zach Ertz, though, because Zach Ertz, he wasn't much for yards after the catch, right? So they could get those quick ins. He ran precise routes. That was his specialty. Because he wasn't much of a yak guy, he would make the most out of it by running some of the most precise routes you could find from a tight end. Dallas Goedert's a whole lot different because Dallas just catches the ball and runs guys over, right? So he runs his routes. He gets a little bit of space. Then when he gets in space, look what you saw this week, right?
Yeah.
He's long. He's got long arms. He's strong. So as he gets that little bit of space, boom, right in your face. Boom, right in your face. That's like he's a physical runner. Zach Ertz, to this day, watch him with Washington. He doesn't want to get hit, right? He doesn't try very much to get the extra yardage, the extra 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 yards. So I think that's why you see that differently, where he had the whole middle of the field to himself because of how precise the routes they used to run him. Goddard is more. They seem to run him more on the seams, on the outside.
I agree. I think they run everybody on the seams and on the outside. I just think unless you know you're going for it on 4th down, when it's 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 10, I don't want to see handoffs to Saquon, and I don't want to see screen passes.
I hate that. That makes
it's 3rd and 8 and it's 3rd and 10. At least throw it to the sticks, and that's what we don't do, and we're lacking. I think part of it is because everything's on the outside.
Well, I was going to say, I think part of it was, I'm not putting this on Kellen, and I thought considering the circumstances, I thought he called a fine game. But yes, at points he was a bit conservative, and I think even on a 3rd and 8, there was a handoff for a reason because, well, the Packers defense played pretty well. We didn't want to turn it over. We did have a lead, and I'm not saying we were playing scared by any means, but our defense was playing really well, and we didn't want to put them in a bad position by turning the ball over in an ill-opportune time, or even worse, at your own end of the field. I mean, sometimes it's okay to live for another series. It's okay to
on the defense. I agree with you. I think you're 100% right.
I totally agree, but it's a difference between calling the play and forcing it. You can still call the play. It's on Hurts now to not force it. If it's there, it's there.
It's on him to get rid of the ball quickly, and it's on him to throw the ball away when it's not there. And I will say this. I mean, I agree with you guys. I agree with all your points. I think there's no question Jalen is more comfortable when he gets outside of the pocket. So maybe that's why we're not going over the middle as much. Or why we're not throwing the ball in the middle of the field.
Cotton Ball, you're right, but you're wrong. Like, first off, what was the big difference last year in the Cowboys offense? Because I'll help you. 1, Dak was healthy. Okay. And 2, CeeDee Lamb took a step to the next level in his junior year, right? At the NFL level. Like, we don't factor that in at any point to this. Like, I don't like the Kellen Moore. Like, we can't say on one hand, Kellen Moore this, Kellen Moore that, and then on the next hand we say, well, he's going to get a head coaching job next year. You know what I mean? Okay, if we think we praise him like that, not saying you said it, Cotton Ball, but the next comment was that. Like, I just think we put so much on. I'm not saying the game plan was perfect, right? Like, absolutely not, right? I'm never going to say that, but players play, and you do cater your game plan to what your guys do well or at a high level. Like, any common sense coordinator is going to do that. So I don't know.
To his credit, that fake tush push on 3rd and 1, because you're going to go for it on 4th down and get the tush push, was a hell of a call. That deep shot, Hurts just missed it, but that was a hell of a call.
I wish they would have saved that for,
I agree too,
like a conference championship or a Super Bowl.
I think that's why they do it, though.
That might have been like a Philly type of a Philly special type of a play if you hold.
I think that's why they do that.
It's a touchdown if he hits it, though.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought it was a great play call. I thought it one damn bit.
I actually thought it was the right time. He just didn't execute the throw. And you go back to I know, especially me. I like to rip on Dan Campbell for wasting plays like that, but now that's another wrinkle that we haven't seen from the tush push that now someone's got to spend time in practice worrying about.
Yep.
Right. They got to spend time in practice worrying about. Now there's a pass option off the tush push. You always saw almost a triple option off of it once, right? We saw the handoff to somebody else, right? But now they the Rams, especially because there's what's up next. Now they got to spend time, whether we call it again or not, have to spend time on out of their defense to go over that play and make sure that they have a coverage for it. I just wish they would have executed it because it was money. It was money, and AJ had a touchdown if you put it in his belly.
Yeah, and honestly, normally that's a pass that Jalen hits too. I was surprised he missed that.
I think you saw Jared Goff a couple weeks ago, and he stumbled too much. I think it was too much of an acting job because he faked everyone. I thought it was a bad snap, but it wasn't a bad snap. He just fake stumbled.
Yeah, Cotton Ball. Like I hear you that he hasn't had the same coordinator, but he's had the same head coach.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, guy's a franchise quarterback, man. Your comments aren't wrong at all. I'm not debating you with it. I'm just can we stop though? We always got an excuse for something.
Well,
not you, but in general, it's some guys protected too much. Right? He's in his fifth year, fourth year,
fifth,
fourth. 22. 22 is his second year.
Yeah, so if we have a bunch of different coordinators, that's one thing. If you have head coaching changes, that changes your whole culture. I don't know. I'm sure it doesn't help, right? Consistency is always a good thing to have, but we just won 14 games and all this stuff. I don't think having a consistent play caller year in, year out is that big of a deal.
But it's also not realistic anymore, especially in today's NFL.
Correct. When you
not realistic.
When you play for a successful franchise who wins double-digit games year in and year out, guess what? It's inevitable. You're going to lose your coordinators. They're going to get head coaching jobs.
Yeah, but you still have your fundamentals, Cotton Ball. Inside Knicks offense, there's still the set stuff that they do. They do what they do, right? Calvin's going to come in with different ideas and different thoughts on stuff, but at the end of the day, this is Nick Sirianni's team. It is. We can just think he's the CEO and he just walks around and does nothing, or we can think he has his fingerprints on stuff because I'm sure he does. Good, bad, and indifferent. That's why I just don't buy into it's all Calvin's offense and Nick has no say as an offensive guy, as a former offensive coordinator, that he has you're right. That he has no say in what goes on this offense and what their standards of this offense are, what their core. He's talking about core this and core that all the time. They have their core stuff that they're going to do at a high level. So, yeah, there's always going to be different schemes and a little bit of different stuff. But, oh, man, these guys have been playing football for such a long time. I buy into more of guys changing, players around you changing, affecting timing and stuff like that. So that's that. I'm not arguing it. People can have their opinion either way, but that's just my
week
opinion.
Week one, when we played the Packers, they had Cam Jurgens, and here I am. I'm thinking, oh boy, Kelsey's gone. It was not a smooth first couple snaps, and then they got adjusted. He got accustomed to him pretty quick.
Right. Then they made the adjustments, scored 34 points, and beat a good Packer team. So.
But yeah, I think most of it just comes down to you're getting the best out of everyone pretty much. You're getting the best out of Brown. He's being unselfish, and when he needs to be selfish, he's being selfish. You're getting the best out of Barkley. You're getting the best out of your O-line. You're getting the best out of your defense. We've seen better from Hurts. He's still winning. He's always been a winner, but we've seen better from Hurts. And I just think that's what the gripe's coming from. There's a guy who threw for 375 and 4 touchdowns in the Super Bowl.
At some point, you're going to need him, right? To carry it, per se. I'm sure at some point on this journey, you're going to need him. Michael said, can we talk about the loss of Dean? Being underrated by everyone, seriously worried. Yeah, Michael, that's how we opened the show. It's definitely a big loss. We don't all of us agree to the poll where we think the Eagles defense will still play at a high level, but you can't run from the fact that it is a major loss, and we got to see how they adjust to it. And can they adjust to it for 3 more games? Hopefully.
That's the goal, right?
Yeah, I think it's more of a next man up mentality. I don't think we're underrating it. I think it's just there's nothing you can do about it.
Especially this late in the year, right? There's only so many guys you can bring in. There's only so many guys you can get ready to go in a week.
Yeah.
Truly, you got to go with what's in your building at this point. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I don't know what a somber mood is, Josh. I
Yeah.
think we're just talking it out of some things.
No
Well,
somber
yeah.
mood, but sorry, I forgot the pom poms. I mean, yeah, it's.
No, I do agree. The
Oh, we
national
expect
media,
to be
there's
here.
definitely a somber mood. National media is not, and I'm more than okay with it, but they do not think we're good right now. Which this season, compared to last season, we have responded very well to that so far this season. Remember going into that Pittsburgh game? Can Jalen throw the ball and AJ's all pissed off? And then we kind of called it just by knowing the guys on our roster and how they are, that they were probably going to go out there and throw the ball all over the field. They did that to some extent, made it a whole lot better, and then everyone's like, the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. So we'll see you next week in Detroit. Well, maybe we'll lose because everyone's on our side and they think we're great again. But for right now, I kind of agree that the general opinion nationally is not great on us right now.
Yeah, I don't know how you shut down the best offenses in football week in, week out, and you make teams look like they should be playing D2 football at a pro level, and we don't have the respect of the national media. This is arguably one of the best defenses in football that we've seen in a minute. That's how shut down they've been in modern day NFL. They've really been that good. Like you talk about the teams that they've shut down. Bengals, Ravens. You could say they sort of slowed the Rams down for the most part too. I mean, you go down the list of teams that this team they slowed down in a big way. Teams that are really good offensively, some of the best in football. I don't know why you wouldn't respect the hell out of this team because the quarterback don't throw for 400 yards. That's what it is.
Yeah, because it's boring. It's boring.
I don't know.
But if you go into a game, and I think this is what they said in the bye week, which is we say it over and over again, but I think all these national media people need to start realizing it. The Eagles' talent is good enough to where if you don't give the other team an extra possession, odds are you're just going to out-talent them and win the game. That's exactly what happened against Green Bay.
Yeah.
There was nothing flashy about it at all, and people were like, well, they look like shit. Actually, outside of not turning the ball over, that's really all we need to do, and we trust our defense to get enough stops in a game, and our rushing attack will break one at some point, and we'll do what we can to win the game. Like, I just don't understand why this guy gets so much hate because he is told each and every week, and he says it after the games. This is the NFL playoffs. I go into every game with a new mindset. Maybe I do take this chance this week. Maybe I don't this week. But if he doesn't turn the ball over, I don't think we've lost the game like that. So what is everyone crying about?
Listen. This is the simplest thing in the world. Like it's not pretty a lot of weeks because you win in the trenches. And they're so dominant inside the trenches that it doesn't look pretty. But if you really are like a film junkie and you love watching those, like you're a baldy guy and you love watching those guys get dirty, it is really pretty. You watch a baldy breakdown. It is pretty. It's like we're the best running back in football, right? Crumb, they laughed at us at the beginning of the year when we said this guy could have a CMC year. Well, he had a CMC year on steroids, all right? Yeah. And everybody laughed at us because that's how good this offensive line is. That's how good it is, and that's how good the RPO is. So it's not pretty, but they gash you, they pound you, and they wear you the fuck out to the point where you get less possessions. We win time of possession on a weekly basis. Yeah. The defense is fresh. They get off the field on third downs. There's nothing flashy about them either. They're not a turnover juggernaut. Right, they didn't lead the league in interceptions. They don't have 100 house calls. Right, so everything they do is they just get off the field. Yeah. It ain't pretty. We get off the damn field. For years, we couldn't get off the field, no matter what quarterback we played. So that's why, from the outside, it's like, oh, this is boring. It's the same thing with the Chiefs. The Chiefs don't win pretty. They just win. But nobody talks about it because they just win.
I don't know. Maybe we're watching.
They haven't won pretty all year. The Kansas City Chiefs, I don't believe it won pretty all year. But their defense is so good. It's so good. They don't have a lot of big names, right? But it's so good and so dominant, but it's not pretty. It's not flashy. The only thing flashy about the Chiefs is Mahomes. That's it.
Maybe we're watching different shows, Luke, because I actually haven't seen the national media be down on the Eagles at all. They've been a little bit down on Jalen, is there a reason to be concerned? But in terms of the Eagles, like particularly this week, everything, it's exactly what you said. The Eagles will out-talent this team. So even if you don't believe in this or that, everything is they're going to out-talent them, and they have Saquon Barkley. That's all I've heard this week. And the fact that the Rams don't have the ability to stop the run against a guy like a Saquon Barkley. I'm not saying he's going to run for 250 yards again, but this is not some defense that all of a sudden became like a top 5 defense and run defense since they last played together. And it's the Eagles defense, even without Nakobe Dean. So I actually haven't seen the media really even give a hard time to Sirianni like they normally do. If anything, it's been about Jalen Hurts, right? And the concern for him coming back in the way that he looked. But the overall scheme that I've heard from everybody say is whether you're concerned about that or not, there's too much talent on this team to think that the Rams are a team that's going to come out of this. I mean,
right. That last part, people don't say the last part, though. They'll bring up Jalen and only talk about him.
I've been hearing people talk about the out-talenting them for a week, 2 weeks.
But there's a ton of more people who only talk about the concerns and they only talk about the
well,
but my thing is like, okay, if you're not concerned enough for him to lose the game, then why are you even talking about it? What the hell are you even talking about? Don't even talk about it at all.
But you have to understand. Right, but you have to understand, right? Tom does it sometimes. Sometimes he takes the other side of an argument, right, for the sake of having a conversation, right? If everybody goes in and says Eagles have way too much talent, they're going to steamroll through their defense, then there's no reason to discuss the game, right? So what is the one thing that you can really have a discussion with on a national level that will attract people and viewers who want to hear the conversation? It's about the quarterback.
Right, but I'm waiting for the sports analysts to sit up and Stephen A. and Nick Wright and those idiots and say, "All right, idiot. Remember the last time they lost the game and he played the full entire game?
Right.
That was week 4. So shut the hell up." And then the conversation is over.
Right.
It's just stupid. Like,
I don't know. That's why that's the conversation.
I know, but it's
this week. There's nothing else to talk about.
I think it's just stupid. It's just
so like
me as a fan of a team, it loses you credibility. I don't even want to watch you talk. I'm turning it off.
One way the LA Rams come in here and beat the Philadelphia Eagles. One way.
If we beat ourselves.
I won't even go there. If Matthew Stafford plays out of his mind. Simple as that. You got a big time, big league.
That's my main concern.
Quarterback coming into town who's won, right? And can flat out spin it in any condition. At any time, like he's one of the most underrated throwers of the football in the last like decade and 2 decades per se. Like he's a little underrated nationally, right? We hear about everybody else but him, but he just wins too. And he's great.
It took me years to get on the Stafford, but until I saw what he did in St. Louis. And it's not to say that what he did in Detroit wasn't impressive. When you have Megatron and the weapons that he had, because offensively,
they were good.
Wide receiver wise, they were always loaded. I never understood why that team couldn't win, but their defense was always atrocious. They had very spotty running game. So, I mean, I get it, but like passing wise, I always thought his numbers were inflated. But when I watched what he was able to do with the Rams, and honestly, since then, and how he's elevated teams, like I believe in the greatness of Matthew Stafford now.
He was doing Mahomes stuff before Mahomes was. And Mahomes gets credit for everything, but that was all young Matty Stafford.
No, I say all this.
Matty Stafford's been balling since he was at Georgia.
I say all this, and they're not coming in here and winning.
Not a shot.
There is a 0% chance that the LA Rams walk in. This ain't Tampa coming in. Oh, hey, nobody wins in the vet. Oh, it's gonna be cold. That ain't that. All right, that ain't that. This is, I don't care, rain, clean conditions. I don't give a shit. They're not good enough, top to bottom, to be able to come in here and beat this team. Unless, like Crum said, we gift them stuff, right? If we gift them stuff, then anything can happen. There's 0% chance. The Eagles win this game. The Eagles win this game 31-17.
Part of the somber mood going into this is because before last week, where he didn't play very well, Hurts didn't play for a month. So that has a factor in it. Also, you just seen a team like
no.
Hold on. I'm just
letting
me go. Oh no, I'm saying the Vikings. They had 14. They went 14-3, and it meant nothing. So that also plays a factor. And also, like you said earlier, Tom, this team, unless you're ESPN You're watching the film, you're involved, like you're breaking down film, watching the trenches, you're a football junkie, watching the offensive line, watching the defensive line. This is a boring football team. It is. I mean, 65% of plays were runs against the Packers. To the average fan, it's not boring for us because we're diehards that watch every game. We love it. But for the average fan that watches football, doesn't know too much about it, that turns the game on, it's boring. It's handoff after handoff. It's 3rd and 8 conservative handoffs to Saquon Barkley. And then you got to, like you said, there's no house calls. There's no flash. There's no prettiness. They just get off the field. So for the national media, like it's a boring football team, but they win.
Right.
So I think that's why it's part of the somber mood.
They can be bored all they want. We're going to bore them all the way to Broad Street. And we'll be holding that trophy in February.
And I also don't think the Fires help.
Well, yeah, everybody will be backing the Rams because of, with all due respect to what's going on out there. I think the Philadelphia Eagles come ready to play. They're going to play mistake-free football, and they're going to absolutely steamroll the Los Angeles Rams. Right on. They're going to steamroll them right on out of the playoffs.
Well, the over-under here is what, 44.5? I'm betting the over because I think the Eagles alone are going to be scoring 35 points in this game. I got the Birds 35-20.
Yeah. 35-20. I like it.
Wow, Rams scored 20 the last time we played them too.
By the way, Luke, the Sixers leader field goal attempts in a game is Tyrese Maxey, but it's at 41. Tyrese and Joel had 41. We were talking about that backstage.
Fucking 3-on-3 basketball. I mean, how do you get 41? How do you get 41?
That wasn't tonight either.
I mean, I can't do this right now because I'm going to lose my mind when we go there. Yeah. So let's just finish this off, okay?
Yeah. I didn't want to interrupt.
No, you did. No, you did. You started triggering stuff, okay?
Keep it
moving. Keep it moving, Greg.
I was interested. I had a funny feeling it was probably him anyway.
All right.
Man. Now you got my Sixer wheels turning. Embiid's only played 13 games this year.
Here we go.
Yeah.
26 missed games out of 39 games. He's missed 26.
Let's get to our scores, and we can smoke them.
Let's talk about the team that matters in this city this week.
What's the line? Do we know what's the line?
6.5.
6.5, 44.5 over under. Total points.
I'm going to go
29-20.
29-20. Okay.
How good is Vegas too? Like that 5.5 was a sweat if you bet that spread towards the end of the game. It was a complete sweat. Like Vegas is just unreal. And they're on our side by 6.5 points. So we're steamrolling, baby.
Right. I think that's a favorable. I think for a public eye, I think you kind of like the Rams in that. I'm not going to lie. That's a lot of points. They're getting a lot of national love right now. Yeah. Vegas wise, I liked what they did for us a lot.
I mean, it's hard. My score predictions have been so off. It depends how much the weather is. I don't know what the weather's going to be. Like I think that plays.
I think it's going to start snowing.
Wednesday, Mike.
I think it's going to start snowing like right as the game starts. So there's not going to be like snow on the field, but it's going to be like snowing during the game. So I don't really know if the field will be like all that crazy, but
it's not
definitely have an effect on the game a little bit.
Might be an uglier second half than first half, so they need to come out firing.
Yeah,
it's not going to be. It's not going to be like the Snow Bowl in 2013.
No, I mean, nowhere close.
It'll be a few flurries. Who cares? The bottom line is the Eagles are the better football team, hands down. I mean, Stafford's a great quarterback. I'll give him that, but there is no way in hell the Los Angeles Rams come in and beat the Philadelphia Eagles, as Tom alluding to what Tom said earlier. So, here, I'll just give you my score prediction now. F it.
We were waiting.
Yeah, go ahead. You're
there you go. The Philadelphia Eagles will go. The Philadelphia Eagles 31. The Los Angeles Rams 6. It's not even close.
I knew it was coming.
Get it.
Wow.
I was like, how low are we going this week? Is that on
Forget
two
it.
field goals
Two
or
field
a
goals.
touchdown and a miss?
Two field goals to the snow.
No, is that
We'll give them two.
is that on a touchdown and a missed conversion or 2 field goals?
No, we'll give them 2 field goals. Yeah, we'll give them. In fact, we'll spot them a 6-0 lead. How about that?
Wow, and just steamrolling for 31 after that.
I could absolutely see them go on a drive, get a touchdown, and not score the rest of the game.
Pucker up our buttholes.
Yeah, I could absolutely see that happening because their first drive is gonna be well scripted. Just knowing McVay, knowing what they do.
They were the first time they played us. Yeah,
A lot
it's
like
gonna be good.
A lot like 17 when we had January 18, but when we played Minnesota in the NFC Championship game, right? Minnesota came out, went right down the field, and we're like, here we go, and then the Eagles blew their doors off.
That was thanks to Patrick Robinson because they were about to go on another drive. We were down 7-0, and they had the ball. We didn't have the ball.
Oh, I was
we give it right back to them.
Tremendous.
Hey,
who didn't get their score yet? Everybody get their
I
score?
didn't give a score. I've been so off on players of the game and scores. I've been so off. Every guy I said AJ Brown's going to go for 202. He had 1 catch for 10 yards. So
just like Grant Calcaterra.
But he read a hell of a book.
He did.
He did make a huge block on that. He did make a huge block on that Goddard touchdown.
Yes, he did.
He did.
And he's the type of player who he could go in, only have a catch for 10 yards receiving, and have a huge impact on the game. Because just his presence on the field, opens it up for everybody else. He's unselfish. All right, I'm not going to say he's completely unselfish, but maybe that's a lie. But he's willing to block. He's willing to put his body on the line.
I'm going to say 28-17 Birds.
Tom, you're muted, bro.
You're similar to me. I was going to go 26-16. I think they're going to have a hard time to score, really. I kind of agree. Maybe they go down the field early like they did last time. But this is just not Minnesota. Our pass rush is much better, more consistent than theirs. Our secondary is not even close. It's way better than theirs, younger too. And everyone talks about the sacks and the pressure their defensive line created. One, we don't throw the ball like Minnesota, right? We run the ball. They struggle to run the ball. That was a bad matchup from jump for them. And they have a hard time stopping the run. So they play to our strengths in reality. And
the other thing Minnesota does that we don't do a lot is they blitz, right? Minnesota loves to blitz and force you to get the ball out early. But what blitzing also does is leaves portions of the field wide open.
Matt Stafford.
Our defensive line does get enough pressure with just 4, maybe 5 guys to where we do have guys covered and zones covered for the most part. So yeah, that's another huge factor.
Yeah, what I was saying is, I think where was it? Oh, the AJ stuff, right? Like there's a report out of New England.
Yeah, New England's all over.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they were quoting Vrabel. Like Vrabel's like, I love that guy, blah 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 blah. So there's like rumors, which is all rumors because he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Unless they back a brink truck of picks up. You know what I mean?
I'll take number 4.
Yeah, you want to throw number 4 around? I'm interested in listening.
No, are you insane?
Hey, Trav.
No way would I even consider that.
No, I'm not signing up for it.
If they offered their next 3 first-round picks, I start to even think about it. That's how valuable. That's how valuable. If this guy leaves, if he's off our team, you're already fighting to get back. Don't be Tennessee. Be like, oh yeah, we'll have all these draft picks. Who are you drafting?
Who knows?
Exactly. Who knows? I know I have AJ Brown.
Whoever's playing at Georgia. Whatever Georgia Bulldogs.
My point to you is,
they can't catch the ball.
Hold on. I'm not trying to trade AJ Brown, so let's not even do this right now. I was just talking about New England and that rumor coming out. But my point is, you are going to get in salary cap hell soon, Luke. It's coming. It is coming.
He gets out of it better than anyone in the league.
Okay,
Guess is the last guy out of all those guys that I want to get rid of for salary cap reasons is A.J. Brown. I'll find someone else.
You just signed Devontae Smith.
Yeah, you just signed him too to a 3-year extension. He ain't going anywhere.
I don't think they're looking to trade him, nor should they be looking to trade him. But if somebody offers you 3 first-round picks, my point to you is you're out of your damn mind.
No.
You're out of your mind.
You're going to be looking for him for the next – you'll be looking for a guy.
This guy – no. This guy has been money since Jalen Reagor. He's been money. I trust him. I trust him more than I ever have. If you gave him 3 first-round picks, I got to drive AJ to New England. And I love AJ. It's the best wide receiver in football that isn't talked about enough.
Yes.
All right. So I'm not looking to deal him, but you offer me 3 first-round picks, which is not happening. Okay, because they're not idiots. Right. That I'm sorry, I gotta sign up for that. I gotta assume
I'm signing up for that immediately.
I gotta assume 3's better than 1, and I gotta trust in my ability to draft, especially when you don't think they're gonna be good very quickly, because that's how good Vrabel is. So the pick that you're looking for is 4. But let's not do this. We're in a
also not to mention Tom, our whole offensive scheme is running the football and RPOs. We run the ball 65% of the time. So I mean, this guy one
then
catch
you put it, then it's like, all right, exactly. Then we'll see what Jalen's all about.
I just thought it was funny. Like, don't you start talking about our guy? Like, we're in the playoffs right now. I don't like that.
And then it blew up in Boston.
Patriots fan.
It blew up there. Like, now everybody's talking about it.
The funny thing is, I'm the biggest Vrabel guy around. Like, my boy's a big Patriots fan. And when I signed Vrabel, he came right after me. Like, oh, we got him. And I said, dude, he's the best hire in football. Like, I would have fired Sirianni after this. I would have fired Sirianni to start this year for Vrabel. Doesn't mean I'm smart, because I think he's one of the best coaches in football. So I don't know how he went without a job for a year either. But they'll be better. They'll be better quick because of him. But yeah, I don't know.
It was all planned.
Players of the game, Jalen Hurts. He likes listening. And Daz is saying this a little bit too.
You know, Vrabel loves AJ so much, but what did he do to make sure that he didn't leave town? He didn't do shit.
Yeah, that's why he wasn't in town.
Probably why he wasn't in town much longer.
That's why he left, because he hated the front office.
And
that move probably was behind it.
But I think Jalen Hurts goes off. I don't care about the conditions.
I love that.
He's just a guy who likes to prove people wrong.
He does. It's scary, Tom, right?
But that's what the greats do.
It's almost like he sets it up for it, right? Like,
I'm not calling the guy. I'm not saying the guy is Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, because if you have eyeballs, he doesn't have the same talent level as those guys, and that's okay. Make sense? Like, those guys have bazookas, right? Nobody's running a 4-2 at the quarterback position, right? And nobody's like running people over like Josh Allen, who has no care in the world for his body or his brain, right? So, like, and he can throw the ball in -20 with 50 mile. He can throw the ball in a hurricane. He can literally throw the ball through a hurricane. So it's okay. But the greats, they like to listen. They like to hear what you say they can't do. Because the first thing he said after that presser after that game, when they were all talking, did you guys enjoy that?
Yeah.
Like the first thing coming to your mouth is, hey, you guys enjoy that? So he lives off of that stuff. You can tell. And that's what makes guys better than they are. You can go up a whole letter grade. If you use that stuff the right way, you can go from a B player to an A player, and that's what he does, because he doesn't have all the extra intangibles that make him like, ooh, how do you not love this guy? But he just fucking wins, and I'll continue to say that until he loses. And then next Wednesday, we gotta get rid of him, right? If we don't win, but all he does is win.
He's the opposite of Justin Herbert, right? Yeah. Justin Herbert is the prototypical what you look for in a quarterback.
Yeah, but you gotta love Justin Herbert though.
He does everything,
except he doesn't win.
Yeah, it's so pretty. Everything he does is pretty.
He had his worst game of his career this past week.
yards and loses.
Sadly, that's not even on him. But yeah,
I agree with that too.
Catch the fucking ball.
Yeah,
it's playoff football. You guys drop 2 balls and return for pick 6s.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and you guys catch a ball over there, and that's what happens when you go get a bunch of TCU wide receivers. Okay, they can't catch. We know this. We watch it, and they go draft Johnson. He stinks out loud. There isn't a bigger body catcher. There isn't a bigger body catcher in football than Johnson.
Yes,
there isn't.
But he was ridiculous in college. He was ridiculous in college.
No,
he wasn't like Rager.
There's a lot of guys ridiculous in college.
Yeah,
right. He's playing D2 defenses.
Yeah, he's playing no defense, Big 12.
I mean,
third best.
He was in the national championship game, though. I'm just saying. It's a little bit different, but I hear you.
The offensive player of the game. I'm sticking with the guy who stole the show last game, particularly if this does become a messy field as the game goes along. I think the X factor then becomes the run game, and that's Saquon Barkley. So I expect 150 plus yards, 2 TDs from Saquon this week.
Eagles fan 1999, I guess when you started, right? And you started right at the run. You know what I mean? You started right when we started going on a run.
Good time to be alive.
Good to have you. But listen to me. Are you okay? He's won an NFC title game.
Yeah.
Last year they got bounced, obviously. And this year they're the second best team in the NFC on paper, like record-wise. And they just won another playoff game. So what's his record as a starter in the playoffs?
How about since becoming a
2, 3? Was he 3-2?
Yeah, I'll save you. I know the stat off the top of my head. Outside of Patrick Mahomes, since he became a starter, he leads the NFL in wins. That's all you need to know.
Yep. But you asked me what he wins, Eagles fan.
Dude, the whole league has to go up against the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Not everyone can be like them, all right? Not everyone can be like them.
Okay,
so then no one can win.
He's 3-3, so now he doesn't win. Where's the third loss? That's what I would like to know.
Well, because you got the bye and the first year against Tampa where he snuck in on the road.
Oh, I forgot about that game. All right. Yeah.
But we were not the better. We were never winning that game, ever.
So the guy's been the guy.
And it was his rookie year, right?
He's been to 4 straight postseasons. I'm gonna ask you guys: Are you Eagles fans okay anymore? Like, what do you want? Holy shit! Like, I don't know what else you guys want in your life. Like, nothing makes you happy. Your wife can literally suck it for hours, and it still doesn't make you happy. I don't know what else you guys want. Goodness gracious, let her breathe a little bit. Let her come off of it. Like, let her catch her breath a little. I mean, you guys are just like stay right there. Right? Like, nothing's enjoyable for you guys. What do you need in your life? A little Disney? I don't know what you need to have some enjoyment in your life. Like, we win a ton of games yearly. We have a chance, an opportunity. We go into a year every year saying we have an opportunity to go to a Super Bowl. That's how good we are. And we have a quarterback that wins. And you guys out there, woe is me. We didn't get a Super Bowl. Oh, my God. You don't know what it's like. You weren't really a fan when we went through it. If you just started in 1999, you ain't know what we've been through. I got bent over by the Cowboys on a yearly basis in the 90s, right? With no lube at all. This Eric Williams just grinding me. You don't know what we've been through. And now we're the big bad wolf. And now we got problems. Holy canoles. You know what I mean?
We got one Super Bowl.
I mean, I hate Dallas now, but man, I hated those Dallas teams in the
I don't even hate them now. They're not relevant enough to hate. I hate the Giants more than they were relevant.
Loathed them in the 90s.
Clip it. Clip it. Oh, my God, dude. Now we're doing this.
How is it more when they don't win more? What's more? Throwing more yards, scoring more points, or actually winning the freaking game?
Luke,
what are you talking about?
Thing in all sports,
is this Mike's cousin again? Like, are we getting trolled?
I'm gonna help people. I'm gonna help people how this works. I'm gonna help people how this works.
Is this Tony G again?
I have a catcher. Okay, I have a younger catcher who's deciding on what school he's gonna go to. Okay, and there's no names need to be mentioned, but he's a culture. He's a culture guy, right? He's gonna change the culture wherever he goes. Because that's how he works. That's how he goes about his business. And you can consider the catcher position similar to a quarterback. Extremely important to what you do, all right, and how you build a team, okay? So when you talk about Jalen Hurts, he's a franchise changer in terms of the culture he brings in terms of the leadership we know about him. And we don't put any of that, we don't factor any of that in, that, like, McNabb wasn't a good leader. We've heard those stories. Wentz was supposedly a terrible leader. Okay, Foles had I love Nick Foles. He can leave his kids and himself in the middle of Broad Street. I'll take care of him, okay? But at the end of the day, he had one run, dude. Did more or less. He had a 1,000-yard All-Pro wide receiver. Like he had a Hall of Fame tight end. I go, we fucking okay? And like, yes, Donovan did a lot with less, but he really didn't because his defenses were top 3 in football.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he did exactly what Jalen's doing. He just didn't win the whole thing. So don't tell me he did more with less because Jalen's had tons of talent around him. We all see it. We all know Jalen has his flaws. But how many times I got to tell you, every goddamn time you need a drive, that dude delivers. Again and again and again. I got my issues with him. But I can't run from the facts. We're a worldwide leader of real talk, okay? We keep it real here. And when he plays bad, we tell you. And he didn't play good last week. But when we needed 2 drives, who gave it to us? That's all.
Nutted up.
That's all.
McNabb won 1 NFC Championship game. So did Hurts.
And the older fans, we go back to that era every time. And we're in that era right now.
Yeah,
but we're in that era.
The 4 of us, me, Chrome, Noah, and Greg. We would run back to those years on it
just to
time.
have a chance.
Yeah, just opportunity.
Hey, we're winning 10, 12 football games every year, and we're in the playoffs. We will take that every time.
Listen,
and now we're back to that kind of run right now. And it's not good enough, right?
Come on,
Listen,
I remember camping out in front of the vet for tickets.
Listen, I remember watching, the Buddy Ryan teams every year get to the playoffs and get knocked out in the first round. And then you had to go through the Richie Kotite years and the Ray Rhodes years. And, the Norman Brayman years with shitty ownership that never set them up to succeed because he didn't give a shit about the team and pocketed all the money. And
not only that,
Reggie White walk, okay?
Reggie White go, yeah.
Let's talk. We've seen some actual, like not just like I was 5, like I was old enough to know, like 10 years old, watched real football back in the day and watched real hardship in the city of Philadelphia when it came to football, okay?
Eagles fan.
You got me going nuts now. These MVPs. Like, what does MVPs mean?
Back away from your phone and punch yourself square in the face. That's what I need you to do to wake up. I need you to square your life up right now.
Lamar Jackson is a 2-time, maybe 3-time MVP, and he's 3-4 in the playoffs.
Josh Allen was an MVP favorite this year. He's won nothing. Like, half these guys have won nothing. What does MVPs won?
Go listen to
12
Dan
means an
Sileo.
MVP.
Go listen to the agenda guys. Go listen to people who just want to hate the hate for fucking ratings. I'm never going to sell out for the goddamn ratings. I'm going to sell out the win. Because at the end of the day, all I give a crap about is winning. It's all you should care about.
Who led the league in passing this year? Joe Burrow? He's sitting at home.
Yeah, sitting on the golf course. Enjoy a long winter, Joe. And I love Burrow. But, we crown guys who lose. We crown. Think about it. We crown guys because they look good in their uniform.
Herbert,
Herbert, Lamar, Josh Allen.
That's why this city loves the backup.
Josh Allen loves the backup.
Wait till Lamar gets bent over this weekend too. Okay, wait till that comes crashing down.
Well, one of them is. It's either Josh Allen or Lamar. One of them is.
Josh Allen 6-5 in the playoffs, barely 500, never made it to the Super Bowl.
Josh Allen better than
I think the Ravens are going to give Buffalo a game.
As they should. What are you talking about? What are you, Captain Obvious? Of course they should give him a game.
And Lamar crazy too. They got Rashad Bateman, Nelson Aguilar, and Tylan Wallace. That was their 1, 2, and 3 wideouts last week.
Well,
it's a joke. The Lamar
It's going to be their 1, 2, 3 wideouts this week because it don't look like
Lamar hate. Josh Allen's also doing the same thing. Like Josh Allen,
Flowers. I mean,
he's done it with less this year.
Yeah,
like Josh Allen's proven. Hey, take away my number 1 wide receiver and watch me spread it around. Because now he spreads it all around. Everybody gets touches. It's like the old Eagles where everybody would get a catch. You know what I mean?
He at least has Amari Cooper. I know that was halfway through the year, but he at least has Amari Cooper.
No,
Lamar's
for sure. Amari
was
no part of the cold.
Yeah, but he's also throwing the Mac Hollins too. So as good as Amari Cooper is, you got to put the Mac Hollins factor in there. Dude's walking in like he's a Flintstone, like a weirdo.
I remember that guy.
Listen, I love Mac, by the way. I love this new version of Mac.
Just a weirdo.
Yeah,
But
what's the
kudos to him,
stat on
he's
the
still in the
Eagles? They
league.
made the playoffs like the last, what was it? It was like 20 out of the last 26 years, something crazy.
Well, we got spoiled. The younger generation, not you guys, but a lot of the younger generation outside of Eagles 1999 have been absolutely spoiled because we win a lot of games.
Yeah.
Right. And they got a Super Bowl. And, you know, most people that started watching in the early 2000s, honestly, have been spoiled because we've only had a few like really bad years and bad moments. For the most part, like we talked about, we're one of the most winningest, successful NFL teams, top 5. I mean, what else can you ask for besides the opportunity? And that's what we have right in front of us. But we want to talk about numbers, and we want to talk about dryer sheet shit, and we want to be a big bounce sheet that you put in a big load in the laundry. That's the kind of people we want to be, and we want to bitch and moan. I don't care if Jalen Hurts throws for 2 yards in the Super Bowl and we win. All right? That dude can ride Clydesdales down Broad for the rest of his damn life. I don't care. I don't care. I'll buy him his next house. I'll figure out a way. Right? We'll go fund me for him. Whatever it takes. I do not care. I'm not in it for the – it's not a – what do you call it? It's not a pageant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a pageant, guys. Like, it's not a – well, how good does he look? Like, do we win? Holy shit, I can't keep saying it anymore. I don't understand why we're being like, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. We absolutely manhandle teams, and nobody likes it. You want to talk about the softest city in sports now? That's what we are. We became the softest fan base in sports. We went from being tough, and we wanted physical, and we wanted to represent the city. And now we got that kind of team, and we don't like it because it's not showy enough. Right? Your owner accepted it. He's the one who wanted the dog and pony show. He's the one who wanted the air attack. But when he found out the way I win is this way, he's accepting it because winning is all that matters. Tom Brady did not look great year in and year out with the New England Patriots. But guess what he did at the highest level of all time? He won. He won. They're different quarterbacks, obviously, but not every year was he awesome.
Yeah.
But when you needed him, he showed up.
Come on, knock on my door.
There's a whole generation.
I've been waiting for you.
Like at least Dead Slayer here. Dead Slayer.
That's a great comment.
Appreciate Dead Slayer. You're in top 5 most successful teams since 2000, and I'm 23 before 2017. I thought that was suffering, but pre-2000s must have been hell. I have talked about this time and again, and Tom probably remembers back in the day, I did an entire show on Birds of a Feather about the Philadelphia Eagles every generation pre-1999. And from 1948, or the mid-40s to the 60s, the Eagles were one of the standards pre-Super Bowl era. From 1960 to 1998 or 99, minus a couple of years with Buddy, they were awful. It was atrocious for 30-plus years to be a Philadelphia Eagles fan. They packed the bed all the time, but it was, it was bad football.
Don't forget the Vermillion years.
Like pre-Jeffrey Lurie with Norman Brayman was one of the worst professional sports owners ever. And it's historic how awful he was as an owner. So now to see, like, you're in great times. We had that run we talked about with Donovan and Andy, right? We had a couple, even with Chip, we won 10-plus games every year. Like, the Eagles really have not consistently been bad since pre-Andy Reid. You have a year here or you have a year there where it's not what you expected. But, like, this is like the golden age of football in Philadelphia for almost a 25-plus year clip at this point.
Gold standard, baby.
Also, Eagles fan, what are we supposed to call him? Like, he's 49, what is it? 49, 27, and 1 in his career. He's 49 and 27. Is that a loser? Like, you're saying where are the Super Bowl trophies at? It's his 4th year in the league.
Dude, another team hasn't won a Super Bowl besides Kansas City since 2021. What do you want? Like, what are you talking about? That is Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen and every other quarterback that might be top 5 in the league. Here's what I'm realizing now, because I don't want to give this guy too much attention. He's probably a troll, but I will for the sake of this. If you are the quarterback, just starting, and you are the starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles for 5 years in a row, takes a special kind of guy to do that and make it year in and year out. As a starter on a contending team, takes a special kind of guy, and it takes special kind of guys like you to point out the small misfits in what is probably the second most winning team in the entire sport. So if you want to continue to be that guy, remove your freaking name from your profile. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's disgraceful.
It's either
Like,
trolling, which is pathetic, to come into an Eagles Philadelphia-based show, the troll, or as it appears with every comment and response that comes back, it is the most ignorant, moronic Eagles fan that I've seen in a long time. This is like dial type of shit that people call in for. It's very lazy narratives. It's very like misinformed kind of stuff. And it's very manipulative to try to twist people's words and make things right.
Are we sure this isn't the Eagles fan that lost his job this week? Just saying.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Very, very, very full.
We remember that story, right?
Yeah, it just happened.
Yeah.
Oh, you know this is 100. He's probably not even a real Eagles fan. He's in here just trying to troll.
Probably. But
That was fun, though.
oh, good times. Look, let's just steamroll the Rams. And yeah, don't be surprised if we don't end up going to Detroit. Don't be shocked if Washington ends up coming here for the NFC Championship game.
Oh, I would listen. I would be so ecstatic. You want to talk about steamroll? Like whatever we do to the Rams, times it by 2. The Commanders' number 2 receiver is Olamide Zaccheaus. We would have a field day.
Wow.
We've already seen what Guantanamo Bay did against Terry McLaurin. I think he had an A.J. Brown game last week. I think he had 1 catch for 10 yards, McLaurin.
All that, and if Jalen didn't get hurt in that game down at FedEx Field or whatever they call that
Game's
shit
not even
stadium,
close.
then we would have won that game. All right.
They turned the ball over 5 times.
I'll admit we got gashed a bit, defensively, no doubt. I mean, our defense didn't have one of their finer moments in that ball game in particular.
We had 5 turnovers.
Yeah, we did force 5 turnovers. The guy,
So
our
it's like
quarterback just couldn't throw the ball down the field. That was the
I
problem.
know. But when you force 5 turnovers and you give up 36 points, I mean, that was a little concerning. But hey, we've bounced back since, and I have no doubt that if we do end up meeting them for a third time in next week's NFC Championship game, I think we shut them right out.
Yeah, I totally agree. That would be a dream come true. Because not only do you get the Commanders and not the Lions, it's a home game. That's huge.
Yeah. Imagine that. Zach Ertz returning to the link on the opposite sideline.
Let me guess what that narrative would be in the media. It would be that we had a Cinderella run to a cupcake run to a Super Bowl. We have no chance. I'm just pointing all this out before it happens.
Yeah.
Besides,
I hear you. I'm sure.
Besides Commanders, if they were to win, you earn cupcake runs. Like I hate when people say,
"Oh
it's a
yeah, you
Cinderella
totally
cupcake
earned
run."
the cupcake." What is it? Our fault that the whole freaking conference thinks it's not our fault.
Yeah, and also you get that high seed, you get a good record, you earn the first 2 rounds being not as good as you.
Right.
Like the Commanders beating the Lions would obviously be lucky. That part of it would be cupcake, but the rest of it's like,
yeah. But I mean,
if they go on the road and beat them, then they're we should play the better team. They're the better team. They earn the right to come play us.
Right.
That's how it works.
Well, not only that. I mean, Detroit. Granted, they beat up the Vikings in Week 18 there, but they are pretty dinged up, especially defensively. I know on offense, I believe they'll get David Montgomery back, but I don't know. For a number 1 seed, they're one of the more vulnerable number 1 seeds that I've seen in a while.
and I think a part of that, I totally agree. No, I think it's because of the quarterback. I don't think many people believe in Jared Goff as they like to say they do. I think Jared Goff is like a step above Sam Darnold. He's had a hell of a year, but does he really put fear into you? Like, I'm not scared of Jared Goff.
Right. I think he's good, not great. I mean, he's pretty damn good.
I think he's become a very, very good quarterback. I think he's become a guy who could win a Super Bowl, right, in this league, especially on that offense. honestly, I think the X factor is the defensive side of the ball, right? Because
Yeah.
they're missing a lot of weapons.
Yes,
Like,
they are.
they're missing like 16 starters, give or take, something around there. And
Yeah,
I think at the end of the day, when you start playing teams like Detroit, or I'm sorry, like Philadelphia, and honestly, even the way the Commanders look right now, I don't think that's going to be a cakewalk for them.
No.
You know,
it's not.
like Jaden Daniels is the type of guy who, when you don't have your biggest horses in the race, he could create a lot of problems, and they could end up putting up quite a few points. I real quick just want to get.
I think that game's going to be a shootout, Mike.
Yeah, I just want to. That's I appreciate you, man. He's putting a couple super chats here. I want to make sure we get to him. In the 90s in general was terrible for Philly sports outside of 93 Phillies and AI giving us hope in the late 90s. That's spot on. And he says, don't jinx us, Mike, because if we lose to Washington in the NFC Championship game, the rant from Tom would be legendary and the best since the 76 Hawks.
I would bet so much money that if the Commanders came here, we would smoke them. The only way we don't is if Hurts doesn't play the full game. Hurts plays the full game. I don't care who else gets hurt.
I don't want to I'm not one of those when we get in the playoffs saying I would rather have this team or that team, because I just feel like it's so unpredictable.
I want Josh Harris. I want him fucking Ryan.
Philly, that would be awesome.
That's where I'm coming from.
It would be crazy, but
yeah. You could stick Bob Myers and freaking.
Did you guys watch the?
Yeah, we threw snowballs at Santa Claus. I want to throw beer cans and shoes at Josh Harris.
Did you guys watch the press conference where they were talking about the Sixers and Flyers commitment to stay in South Philly, and Josh Harris was there, and I think there was like a Go Birds from Wanda Sykes, and she's like, "Sorry, Josh, but Go Birds," and he just looked like he was fucking eating shit.
He's a miserable SOB.
He's a piece of shit. I'll tell you that.
No,
Guys,
but,
he's fucked up in the head. He has the Commanders, the Devils, and the Sixers.
I mean, I don't care about that. It doesn't bother me as much as it does most people. Yeah, I don't think he owes any. I mean, he owns teams. He doesn't owe any city anything, in my opinion. Go make your money. Go make your bag. But I really do think.
Yeah, but when your product is shit, you kind of owe that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're the face. Yeah. You're the owner of the team that looks like
over
garbage
the
right now.
in this city.
Like, when you own shit, you're gonna stink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I hear you on the surface, right? Like, yeah, you're right. What does he really owe anybody? Nothing. But you're the owner, so you have to give us a good product.
And while one's good and the other's bad, it's
a lot of people thought this product was going to be good coming into the year, right? So
yeah, no, you're totally right.
I'm not a shit on Josh Harris. Like, I always think he tries. He gives carte blanche to whoever the general manager is, even prior to Daryl Morey. It just doesn't work. But like, I can't sit here and say he's an owner that doesn't try to succeed, because he has. It just hasn't worked. There's a difference.
Yeah, but it's the conflicting. Like, you own a Philadelphia, Washington, and New York sports team. Like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, it does just feel like that he's always like, we're second fiddle, right? You know what I mean?
Of course.
Feels that way.
Of course we are. His hometown is Washington, for Christ's sake.
He
doesn't give a damn about the Sixers organization.
Oh God,
he just cares about
that. Just happened. Like, that just happened. He's been the face of the Sixers for how many years? Like, let's not act like this has been some long drug out thing here, guys. And Washington's ahead of time, because Chicago, as they per usual, fucked up on which quarterback to take and took the wrong quarterback. And now they're ahead of pace.
It's whoever's playing well. He had nothing to do with the Sixers. They started playing well, and he wanted to sit courtside every game and smile and clap. And now the Commanders are making a magical run, so he's there.
Josh Harris hate is such stupid. That, to me, that's lazy Philadelphia bitter bullshit hate. Like, who cares?
Dude, when Jaden Daniels, I promise you, clip this. When Jaden Daniels breaks his ribs and tears his ACL in the next 2 years because he's RG3 2.0. He's a special talent, but that's what he is. Josh Harris will be nowhere to be found. That stadium will still be leaking sewage water onto the fans, and he'll be nowhere to be found, and the Devils will be making a Stanley Cup run, and that's where he'll be. I guarantee it.
Clip it.
Clip it.
129-20.
When I went down to a game there, what was that, 10 years ago or so? Of course, we fucking lost. I was so pissed. But I got down there. I'm like, I'm getting an upper deck seat. I don't want that sewage water pouring on me for 3 hours.
Guys,
Me
a
and
joke of
Matter
an
actually
owner.
sat in the end zone for like $80 after like the fees. It was so cheap to go there.
How do you own something and it's leaking sewage water? You still play there and you don't even fix it. He's a shit
We had-
owner. He's a
we had the
legitimate
vet.
shit
The vet-
owner.
The vet smelled like piss everywhere.
Yeah, it was our. That was our
What'd they
gem,
do? They got rid of it.
That was our gem.
I mean, they had it forever. Though. I mean, it's just
Well,
like,
what do you want, Mike? I couldn't make it to the
it's just
bathroom.
such nitpicky stuff. But listen, I mean, we'll see. I mean,
miss
that
that
would be a
place.
narrative. That would be a hell of a narrative going into Washington if you played Washington.
I miss
I'm
that
not-
place.
I'm not asking for either
Oh.
team. Though.
Same
Whoever
here,
we-
but Greg, I love that place.
What the vet?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it was
I
a
miss
dump,
the vet.
but it was our dump.
Yeah,
missed the
exactly.
vet.
It was
You
our
would go
dump,
down.
right?
You would go down to go take a piss, and you wouldn't even have to go to the bathroom. You wouldn't have to go down to the bathroom where the troughs were, because everybody would just piss at the bottom of the section on the wall.
Yeah.
I pissed in my empty beer cup. I didn't give a
I
shit.
always tell people it's the weirdest thing. Like when I think of the vet, I think of stale piss, hot dogs, and popcorn. Like that was the smells that I got from there.
Yeah.
I got to
I know
go
we-
there when I was 3 years old.
I know we talked about this earlier, but Jalen Hurts' quote again about his performance and getting in the rhythm early.
Yeah.
I think you guys need to understand that I don't play the game for anything other than to win. My role and approach in each game will be different. Ultimately, it's all about winning the game. It's playoff football.
Yeah.
So, it's just I know Eagles
you go.
fan doesn't want to hear that, but the
Yeah,
rest of us,
I always love
Well,
what he
well
has to say.
said by Jalen.
I always love what he has to say, but the sound of what he says is so Kate Scott. Like the way he talks drives me insane. He just mumbles everything like, well, it's time to win, and it's
I
don't
love
care-
it.
I
I
don't
love
care
it.
about it.
I love it.
stand it.
I love
It's
it.
so it's
That,
so
that's the kind of guy that no matter if it's a win or a loss, it's the same steady headedness in
Right.
the press. That's the guy that's going to play quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles for more than 2 years. That's what's
That's
gonna
so
because
fake.
when Wentz played a bad game, you could tell it was eating at him a lot. And especially when that thing with Foles happened, that ate at him, he never came back. Jalen is just mentally more tough. And maybe it wouldn't matter if he played in Cincinnati, but it matters here. It totally does. And I think that, there's misguided people out there that just want to overlook that. But if you want to have the same thing with Carson Wentz and have a talented kid come in here, and then the second it goes downhill, you have a fan who's a little bit upset, and then they don't come back. It's Ben Simmons, it's Markelle Fultz, same thing. And we have a guy in-house right now that is the complete opposite, and people want to ship him out of town because he doesn't throw for 300 yards.
Yeah, to your point,
Give me a break,
Luke,
dude. Give me a break.
Yeah, to your point, who cares what he says in the presser, right? He's even keel, and he's always ready to play on Sunday. He's always prepared, ready to lead his team. And there's no disputing that.
Plus, you would much rather that than have bad things come out of the press. And that happens a ton. I don't remember there ever being one bad thing in Jalen's tenure in the press. Not once,
it's
which
the third year in a row
honestly, which
we've
is
heard
rare.
bad press. This third
Which
year
is
in a
rare.
row we've heard about him and AJ and a bunch of nonsense drama. That's
well,
not real.
But it hasn't affected the winning on the field, and they're still here. And I think that them back seeing, you look at I see Jahan Dotson on Instagram. He is posting clips of people talking about it, just laughing.
Yeah.
It could easily be one of those things with you see what they're saying about us today? And they think it's funny. They don't give a shit. What do they care? They don't care.
No, I'm
Sure.
a Hurts guy. His mumble fake quotes don't do anything for me.
I hear you, but he's ready to play on Sundays.
Always.
That's all that matters.
That's all.
On another note, when can I trade Joel Embiid?
Tomorrow,
No, when am I allowed to trade him?
March.
March.
Is that a real thing?
Well, no, you're not allowed to trade him to the summer.
I thought it was
technically.
March.
Well, yeah, but the deadline will be.
Oh, yeah, deadlines. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, so if we're on that topic, Joel Embiid has missed 26 out of 39 games. He has missed 26 games. So that's
He's
13
done.
games he's played.
He's done.
He's done. He's cooked. And we're lucky enough to be able to see crypto.com commercials about how, the postseason's all that matters. And give me a break, dude. This guy is just a dollar sign. He's money bags. The stadium was the most empty stadium. If you look up the video on Twitter, it's crazy. For a Sixers-Knicks game, even the Knicks fans couldn't get excited and come up for the game, which they usually do. Usually it's a packed house, Sixers and Knicks fans, and the Knicks fans do a great job of showing out. Even though it's only 2 hours away, hour and a half away, they show out. And it was empty. Dead stadium. I mean, you turn the game on the other night. It's Justin Edwards, Adem Bona, Ricky Council, Pete Nance. Who the hell is Pete Nance? I woke up and it's 2015 again.
Jim Nance's cousin.
Yeah, it's a joke. And it's completely on Joel Embiid. And it's not even Paul George's fault. He had a hell of a career. Love the guy. But again, the front office felt pressured to make a signing that made zero sense other than we have a max contract spot and we're scared that we got to do something with it. They did it with Harris and they did it with Paul George. And it's two guys that don't deserve that money that they gave it to. They could have done nothing, and they should have done nothing because they're doing nothing on the basketball floor. It's just a joke. It's embarrassing.
But we're only 2 games out of the play-in round.
Greg, I'm telling you, we're going to the play-in tavern. Me and Greg.
It all starts with your leader. Like we talk about Jalen Hurts, and we talk about the way he goes about things, and it translates to winning. Right? We talk about Joel Embiid not being on the bench. He's, like you said earlier, buckets. He's the only guy in the NBA. He's hurt, and he's never on the bench, ever.
Oh, yeah, we said that off air. Let me reiterate that. Every time Joel Embiid has missed a game, so 26 of them, he is never on the bench. He's always getting treatment.
He was.
You have all day to go get treatment. He's not getting treatment. He's just in the locker room doing nothing, twiddling his thumbs. Sometimes he'll come out in the tunnel when there's 30 seconds left and it's a close game, and then he'll come celebrate acting like he's the man. Only guy in the NBA that doesn't sit with his teammates on the bench when he's not playing. And it's a joke. And think about it. You can picture so many people, Maxey, Paul George, John Morant. They all sit with their teammates when they're sitting out games. He does not. And he's done it 26 times.
KZ, are you okay? I mean, maybe you missed that he's not healthy. Ever. And it's only getting worse.
Yeah.
And we've held on and we've tried.
And
time.
PG does stink. We're not saying PG doesn't stink, but it's not his fault that we gave him that money. That's not his fault at all.
When he plays with Embiid.
Well, I think he stinks out loud. But we gave him that money, and that's not his fault. Like Joel Embiid's the one making commercials and saying in press conferences, we want to build a championship. He's texting the Olympics this season. He texted the group chat. Steph Curry said this. You can quote it. Oh, I'm the process. Like, oh, whose number is this? Whose number is this? Oh, hey, it's the process. He's talking about this goddamn process and championships and making commercials saying playoffs is where it counts and where legacies are built. And he's doing nothing.
Yeah.
Paul George ain't saying none of that. Paul George is signing this contract.
Wow. Listen, I can't be mad at the guy for speaking the truth at the end of the day. Like, as much as I've had enough of Embiid, that is the truth, though, right? Like, winning is all that matters, and postseason basketball is all that matters because they've won 56 games. They've done all those things regular season wise. They've been the number 1 seed. They've done it all. So, on the surface, that makes a lot of sense, right? Like, of course you believe that. I can't blame a guy for his body breaking down. Like, as much as I'm done with him, I'm ready to move on, and I respect everything he's done here, right? And I think he's one of the greatest players that what ifs in NBA history. He's the biggest what if in maybe the history of the league. Okay, that's how good he is when he plays, right? But now you're watching the body break down, and KZ, who this is my son, KZ. Joel is my baby. I thought he was a guy that was going to get us to Broad Street, right? And he could have been, but at some point you have to be able to say, all right, I got to start over. And why start over when Maxey's 27? Why not start over now? Why not hit the reset right now? And no, you're going to take some lumps, right? You still have a guy that will sell tickets and Tyrese Maxey. You still have that guy. They're not going to be as good, and you got to restart it. And you got to get as much back as you can. because at the end of the day, somebody still will give you a good amount for him.
Absolutely.
When obviously when he's cleared Casey, I know you can't trade a hurt guy, right? To your earlier comment, because you're obviously Captain Obvious tonight. This isn't a conversation. Casey, I don't understand why people can't have a thought. All right, coming me out.
Yeah, see you boys. Milton Williams is going to have a big game this week, by the way. Smell you later.
Later, brother.
Oh, I like it.
Go Birds.
Say it.
Later, buddy.
Go Birds.
Birds.
Like you're comparing two guys. Like I don't know why we're comparing those two guys in PG and Embiid because there's no point to doing that, right? But when you talk about like you had to go do that with PG. You had to do that. The situation you were in, you had to go try to go all in. You put your chips in the center.
KC, Embiid recruited PG. It's totally Embiid's fault. Has nothing to do with PG. Embiid's the one who recruited him. So that's why it's Embiid's fault, not Paul George.
They shipped him out there. They told him to go out there to the finals and do all that shit. They said, we're getting Paul George. He's our A1 guy. Go, And he agreed. He was down for it, but it was their idea.
Yeah. And Maxey's showing you this season why you can't build around him. He's not that good either. Okay. Well, I'm not telling you.
Well, he can't be the 1A guy. And I think that that's very, very clear. I said in the beginning of the season, it's kind of unfair. Kind of gets to a point where your shot selection is so bad. Like, I understand that he needs to shoot the ball more because Joel Embiid's not there. Maybe some nights Paul George not there. Totally understand that. Some of the shots that he's taking is just horrible. I just don't understand it. And they're early in the shot clock. It's just weird. I don't fully understand it. And around the rim, like that was such a strength of his game. He's gotten so much worse, just randomly out of nowhere. And it's something that we talked about last season coming into this year. And his next leap is going to be the free throw line. He's got to get to the free throw line more. It eliminates you taking hits, find contact, stop flying all around the rim the entire game. Just go to the line, do those Brunson, Trae Young level moves to get you to the line. Yeah. He just doesn't do that anymore. His free throw numbers are down. Like, it's just a mess. And it's easy to credit that to playing with Embiid versus not. And you definitely have a point. But it shouldn't be this drastic. It just shouldn't.
You made the point earlier, though, Luke. Like, you made the point like a month and a half ago. Guys are in and out of lineups. Both Maxey and George aren't entirely healthy themselves, obviously. So that takes a toll. A guy's not going to be as good as he usually is. We talk about both of those guys, recently. But they both showed spurts this year when they both were healthy that those two can still play at a high enough level to win games, right? Like, I'm not going to go over the last, week here because it's been brutal. But if those two guys are healthy, they're still going to win games. Like, Tyrese Maxey is going to look the part. But Luke's spot on. Like, you got to go to the line at a high clip. That's what all the stars do, right? Some of it he's not getting all the calls at times. But Luke's also spot on that he's got to draw some of that contact. He's got to sell some of that contact, right? So they're all things I completely agree with. I don't necessarily believe that the guy can't, at some point of his career, because he gets better at stuff all the time, that he can't be your 1A guy if you have a guy that fits him, right? Another scorer who really fits his game, he can be, right? Because he can get his own shot. He can create, right? He's got growth to still happen, right? But it doesn't help him when the guy that this franchise is relying on, and it doesn't help Paul George either, no matter how much money they're both making, when the best player maybe on the planet when healthy has missed 26 games.
Tom, I don't know you're spot on. Like, this guy,
we're going to get out of them. We think we're going to get superstar numbers out of them? No, but they'll look like stars if Embiid's playing. That's my final point. If Embiid was playing, those two guys, we would all be happy with. I'm telling you, we would be happy with Paul George and what he brings to this team most nights if Embiid was playing, because it would show.
1,000%.
It would show.
This guy, he injured his foot on the Christmas Day game. Okay. He injured his foot Christmas Day game. First of all, I don't know what rope has any business doing around the court. Okay. Of course he finds it and he sprains his ankle on some girl's foot standing there, whatever. Okay. But okay, that happens. He plays the entire Christmas Day game. We win the Christmas Day game. He plays another 4 games after that. And now he's been out for 12 days. So I don't know what to think because he finished that game, he played 4 more, and now he's been out for 12 days. So just totally mismanaged injury for the Sixers. Like, and not only that, it's totally on Embiid. Like you said, Tom, Maxey, George, we're not even talking about these guys. When you build a team around one player and that one player is not playing, it's going to be a mess. Now, to Luke's point, I don't know when Maxey decided he couldn't make layups. Maxey's been terrible finishing around the rim lately. Like if you're one of the few maniacs like Luke and I that are actually watching the slap night in and night out, his finishing has been brutal. Like he's missing layup after layup. And I don't know when that started or why it started. But that aside, when your best player is not playing and you build a team around this guy and he's not playing and he's not even sitting on the bench. He doesn't even sit on the bench with his teammates. Who does that? Who allows him to get away with that? There's nobody in the league that has ever done that. He's done it his entire career. He doesn't even sit with his teammates. It's a joke. It's a joke. They should trade him. And he's a loser. And every time you talk about, trade him, and the people are like, well, why would you trade a guy that, you can't win without? We can't win without him because we're building our teams around this guy. Yeah. It'll take 2, 3, 4 years to get over the hump once we get rid of him, but you can build around other people. And to people's points, is Maxey a 1A guy? No, I don't believe he is. But when he's your second, third punch, then that's awesome. That's who he is, and that's fine. There's no team in the NBA, in my opinion, that's contenders besides maybe Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Like, whose best player is a point guard? Curry, they're, 500? Shai Gilgeous, who they freaking every year in the playoffs crap out anyway. Like, I feel like
he's also 24 years old, right? So we're talking about a player who's hasn't even hit his prime yet. So like we don't know what the final product of Tyrese Maxey really looks like yet. We'll know in 2 years, right? Because I think that prime really is more like 26 now than it used to be, like 28 to 32 was like your prime years in sports. I think it's changed a little bit. I think you sort of hit it a little bit earlier, right? In basketball, you might be able to get there. Like for a guy like him, who wasn't the number 1 pick of the draft, didn't have all those accolades, has had to work for everything. I believe by the time he's 26 years old that he can carry a team because he can score at a high clip. That's why. But he can't do it by himself. Nobody in the league does. He's not LeBron. He's not going to carry Cleveland. He's not AI, right? He's going to need pieces. That's what this league's all based off of, is what surrounds you. But at the end of the day, look at the roster of who's playing. Like it's been bad throughout the last 12 days. Right? When you look at who's been out, like when you've been without Oubre, then you've been without this guy and that guy, and you no Maxey, no George, obviously no Embiid. Like this team isn't good enough for that.
It's so no Embiid. The rest of it
got to move on. If everybody was playing besides Embiid and Andre Drummond was playing, they could win. They could win games. They would get themselves into a playing game. They would be good enough for that.
Yeah.
But
you don't have 2 guys that'll give you 20 points consistently. You don't.
Listen to me. You have enough guys on your roster that can. That's the point I'm trying to make.
They would make the play-in.
They would make the play-in. I'm not telling you they're winning the play-in or any of that stuff. But right now they have 0 size to compete. You have a 6-foot guard and a 6'8" center. How are you going to win in this league?
And not the right 6-foot guard.
And not the right 6-foot guard from Georgetown. But like the point of what I'm trying to make, guys, is
we can't bring AI out of retirement.
But like we're just like the whole team assembled playing every night. I think they would have been better, like without Embiid. Like say there's no Embiid, but they all were consistently playing. To Luke's point a month and a half ago, I think they'd have more chemistry, and I think they would look better. What does that mean? I don't know, right? I don't know what it officially means, but they would definitely be better and watchable. Because now it's not even watchable.
And this is why I say fuck Josh Harris.
That's hard for me to say.
And this is why I say fuck Josh Harris. I wish Crow was still here too. Because everything is so mismanaged. Like they withhold so much information from us. We have the most fraudulent medical staff and front office and upper management in the entire sports world. Like this guy injured his foot Christmas Day. He played the entirety of the game. We won. He then played 4 more games after that, scored 37 against Portland, scored 30 again, then scored 28 and 28. He's now been missing for the last 12 days. They're withholding information. This guy played in the Olympics, won a gold medal, started the season saying, yeah, he needs to ramp up. 26 games he's missed out of 39. He's played 13. What do they know that we don't? Like they withhold information from us. And if
Mike,
that means that they're going to trade him in the summer when we're allowed to trade him and that's why they're holding it, cool. But it's been going on for years. They withhold information from us year after year.
Mikey, this is the same organization that had freaking zoologists, okay, working on their goddamn medical staff. All right. To your point of how clueless this organization is. All right.
Yeah.
It's completely effed up from top to bottom. I mean, look, I appreciate.
We're just deflecting. We're deflecting.
I'm
gonna be honest with the both of you. That's a deflection. Like to go talk about the organization when you're talking about a guy who never wants to be on the goddamn court, and it's gotten worse and worse and worse. That's a body. That's a body.
I hear you, but it's a train wreck.
What are they? What are they supposed to do? I'm just playing devil's advocate with you. What are they supposed to do? What the hell? You tell me what? Tell me.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
Embiid. I know.
I'll tell you. Yeah, fine him. Suspend him.
No.
Make him sit on the bench.
No. There's pros and cons with everything, Buckets, and the con of that is his value just went down big time. That's the other side of that. You start fining for him not being there, and you start making it public that you're not happy about. Oh, baby! Now that's now you got hold on. Now you got an injured guy who also they're fining, and there's a break in the relationship, and it's clear as day he's non-tradable.
And I hear you, but we're not trading him. This guy hasn't been traded. That's what I'm saying. If we're going to trade him, then this makes sense. Withhold the information. But I'm making him sit on the bench. Sit on the bench with your teammates and face the fans and face the criticism. Zion Williamson does it with a smile. I mean, that guy can't stay on the court. He plays one game, he's out for the next 50 games, but he sits there with a smile. I mean, this guy is nowhere to be found. He stays and hides in the locker room every single game. He's played 13 games. These people pay money to go see you. The least you could do is sit on the bench. I mean, this guy is the worst leader in sports. I've been in the Lexus Club. Every single guy walks up to you, daps you up. Every single guy before the game. The 15 people that are standing there daps you up. He doesn't even look at you. I mean, this guy is the worst leader in sports. He doesn't care about nothing but being cool with the inner circle of the NBA and being cool with the stars of the NBA. And that's a sad thing, too, this whole process. We're not going to have one all-star this year. I mean, I don't give a shit about all-stars, but it's just crazy how far we've declined. There's not going to be one all-star on the Sixers team.
I'll be honest, guys, I'm not surprised one damn bit.
The surgery has nothing to do with a foot.
I disagree. Well, no, because that's what they're putting out there. But then if you ask Nick Nurse, what they put on the injury report and what they can go in depth in talking about, especially with a guy who's dealing with multiple injuries, is totally different. The thing that's keeping him off the court now and a nagging injury just over the course of a season is the foot. That's a day-to-day thing. He'd be back next week. The problem that he's going through is the swelling that comes up after he plays. So this is why I want to bring up this, which just goes so unnoticed when people talk about Embiid, why he's not playing, why they're being so secretive. What's the one move that this organization made probably 2 to 3 years ago and promised us all at least a little bit of improvement in that category? They fired the entire medical staff, everyone. They were gone. And no one put any money, any stock, any talk, any attention into that whatsoever. And that is so extremely important because the people that are in office right now with that medical staff are doing the exact opposite from what the people did all the way back then. So, I mean, you could play it and just be like, hey, the guy's not going to be healthy ever, then it is what it is. But at the end of the day, they're saying, look, we tried that shit and putting him out there. It's not good in the short term, and it's damn sure ain't good for the long term. So we're going to try it this way, and it's not working, and I think it's blowing up in their face. But at the end of the day, he should have gotten surgery. And you want to talk about his 1-2 to play? He wanted to play in the play-in last year. Remember, they gave him that opportunity. Oh, is he going to shut him down? Then it came back that he was going to come back and play. Then he played in that series, and he came back after that alley-oop, self-alley-oop, and he was dealing with the swelling and the crap the whole time. He really shouldn't have been playing. He should have gotten surgery. Probably shouldn't have been playing in the Olympics. He probably should have gotten surgery. But it comes – the medical staff, it's a lose-lose with the guy but I just won't accept people saying he doesn't want to play. When I've seen him day in, day out in regular season games and in postseason games, play on injuries that guys today would never play with, ever. And you're also talking about a guy that stuck with the most, inconsistent, horribly run organizations, especially in the NBA. And he didn't request a trade once when you're talking about a league where Kevin Durant's been on like 6 teams, it feels like, in the last 2 years. He requested a trade. Boom, boom, boom. Jimmy Butler requested a trade. LeBron's been on 3 teams. I think that, yes, it sucks the way it ended, but the way that we have to realize is he gave it everything he had. It just sucks.
It sucks. If I said that at all, that he doesn't want to, I will take that back because he's always played through injuries. I don't think a guy doesn't want to play. I think there's factors to this. Yeah, of course he wants to play. He wants to be out there. He wants to win. Like, no competitor doesn't. But I also think there's been selfish decisions throughout this that led to this. So, I mean, you could look at it a bunch of ways, like Luke said. You can look at it a million ways.
He didn't have
At the end of the day, he's not healthy. At the end of the day, he's not healthy.
Right, and that's
the team that needs him.
Right.
So I don't know where they go from there. Besides,
no one's
hide the
question
information.
is want to, but you have to
hide the information. Then.
Yeah, like no one's questioning the want to, but you have to show up to practice on time. You're the best player. You have to sit on the bench with your teammates. You have to. It's part of the job. You have to be a if you're not going to be a leader, that's fine. But give the young guys. You know how cool it'd be for a Dembona to sit next to Embiid and just learn something, pick his brain. He doesn't even get that. The guy's not even on the bench. It's just I don't know.
But this wasn't a thing until this year. Like last year, I felt like he was on the bench a lot. Once he was done with the serious part of his injury, and he was ramping back up to play, he played. He's just frustrated. I think he is so frustrated of what the hell is going on. And guess what? Like I said about that medical staff, why can't it be him being like, I want to go and play, and they're not letting him play? Because it's a new way of thinking.
But if we're withholding information, which I think you're totally right, Luke. I think everything you're saying is right. We can't build a team around this guy.
Yeah.
So the medical staff needs to give this information to the front office. You need to relay this information to the front office because signing Paul George is a Joel Embiid move. If Joel Embiid's not on the floor majority of the season, and you know this, Paul George is not winning.
I think that's a frustration, Buckets. I think that's a frustration too. I mean, to cut you off, but this is what I'm thinking about. The frustration is he obviously wants to be out there, because he went and recruited a guy, and now he's not even on the court with him. So obviously he wants to be out there. But if his body's saying no, but his mind's saying yes, right? But again,
let me know.
But Luke's also saying, to that point is the medical staff could be like, no, you're not playing.
You want to know why I think that that's a lock? They came out with this commercial hyping up the playoffs with him in a crypto jacket all the way in September. They knew that this was going to happen, that he wasn't going to play a lot of these games. They probably thought they were going to win a bunch more than they are. They were bumping commercials about the playoffs and his mentality and whatever. They had him quoted. When do you ever see that ever? They had that in September before the first freaking game of the season.
No, you're spot on. You read into that, Luke, too.
Yeah, they knew this. This was their plan. So all I'm saying is it's
play
very
30
easy.
Games.
Yeah,
it's games.
It's so, and then he's like, I don't care about regular season awards. You think all that's a coincidence, and now he's not playing at all.
This is exactly what's going to happen. He's going to play 30 games. He's going to play.
You don't care about regular season awards.
Buckets, we got it. He's going to play 30 games. He's going to hope they're in a playing game, and then he's going to go play in the playoffs.
You're absolutely right. I'm not saying you're wrong, but this is the same guy who's saying, I don't care about regular season awards, who freaking killed his body over winning an MVP, cried he didn't win the MVP of the year he was supposed to, and I agree he should have won it, and then killed his body again to go win it.
Yeah, but
he doesn't care now because he won it.
Well, you're allowed to grow. You're allowed to grow, but it goes to
he won it. It's no grow. He showed it. He showed the trophy, and now he doesn't care because he has it.
Yeah, listen, okay.
KZ, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Unfortunately, I don't think they're outsmarting everybody.
Individually, you always want to hit your goals, obviously, as an athlete, right? I don't know what goal he put in front of the other. If he had MVP in front of a championship, then that says a lot, right? I'm not saying he did that. but you always have goals as a player, and you want to win an MVP. It shows where you stand with the greats in the league. Like, so I don't have a problem with that. Like, yeah, he put his body on the line. He also put his body on the line in the playoffs a lot too, right? So it's not like he only did it in the regular season. Like, oh, a guy put his body on the line every regular season, but in the playoffs, you know, he refused to play or something. Like, he always plays.
He's played through a paralyzed face. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the guy's a phony. He's a phony. Like, don't tell me you don't care about regular season awards when you just cried for the last 3 years that you didn't win MVP.
Yeah, but after he got it, I don't think he cares anymore.
No shit, because you already got it.
Right. And I think I think it's totally valid. I think that's a valid.
That's what happens when you get it.
Yeah.
We also got to remember this organization has always handled Joel with kid gloves and with with literally down to the step of what this guy does, like all over the place, right? Like, so it doesn't shock me that they potentially are holding him back from wanting to play, right? I mean, throughout his whole career, he's always been hurt, and we've always tried to do it a different way. But they've always had kid gloves and covered gloves and they've always tried to manipulate everything that he's done to make sure that he's on the court, and then he's still not on the court.
We're waiting for the playoffs, Greg, that we're not going to make.
Yeah, I tell Tom this all the time. As soon as you stop doing this, that's when his body shut down.
Yeah.
When he was talking shit every game and telling people they're nothing and tweeting out and saying this, that, and the fifth, that he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, he was dominant. And unfortunately, those teams just weren't ready to win. And now, ever since like the teams have been built up, okay, ready to win, he doesn't talk shit anymore because he knows in his head mentally his body's not ready, he's not built for it, and he's a phony. He knows it, so he stopped talking shit. When's the last time he's talked shit?
I can't get down with the phony talk. I just can't.
All right, but I love the guy to death, Luke. But when's the last time he called somebody out, said they're not better than him, and beat them? Because he did it for 5 years in a row.
Well, there's a few things of that. One, he came out once Jimmy left, and maybe he thought it was going to be good for him when it wasn't. But he went out before that season and said, I'm not doing that anymore. I need to be more mature. I have a new way of attacking the game, whatever. And he didn't do it ever since. Now, you might be right. It was probably better for him.
Yeah, but what year was that? The Al Horford, Josh Richardson year?
Yeah.
So that's why he said that, because he's a phony and he knows his team blows.
No, he said it before. He said it before the season even started that he was doing that.
So they had Al Horford and Josh Richardson. He looked at the roster and he said, wow, we're going to blow this year. So I'm going to be more mature. That's not even if. It's a fact. He looked at his roster and said, we're going to blow this year.
I don't think
so. Let me just straight up say, I'm going to be more mature. And I'm not going to talk shit because there's nothing to talk shit. You have Al Horford and Josh Richardson as your 2-3 parts.
I think he saw his two adults in the room walk out, and JJ Redick and Jimmy Butler, and he was inheriting a lot of new guys on the team. And he said, I can't do that anymore. I think that's what it was. And Ben Simmons was like, what the hell is going on with him?
I think JJ Redick and Jimmy Butler were better than any player that was on that team that year.
Right.
That's why once they left, he was like, yeah, I'm going to be more mature. I'm not going to talk.
No,
shit.
I think they were the old men in the room, the leaders in the locker room, and that's why the organization was a joke for even.
And what does JJ Redick and Jimmy Butler do best? They talk shit. That's what JJ Redick and Jimmy Butler do the best.
What did Maxey say earlier on in the year about Embiid?
He doesn't show up to practice. He's late for a team meeting.
We can make the case that he was trying to be more mature, or we can make the case the organization told him to stop.
Yeah, the organization, the league.
Yeah.
There's a lot of factors in that.
Yeah, I don't know if that was all.
I'm just saying. Do you really think it's such a coincidence? Like, for the people who think he just doesn't want to play, because there are more than enough of them out there that he just doesn't want to play.
I just don't know
they're jacking up commercials in September before the season even starts about the playoffs and not caring about the regular season. Then you hear for the first time about him being seriously pissed off and him showing up late and being frustrated. Now he's not on the bench and he's playing less than he ever has before. And they're being, as secretive as they ever have been about what his injuries are. This is run by them 110%. 100%.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm not saying he doesn't want to play. I'm just saying he doesn't play. Like, you're 100% correct.
You both are great. By the way, I love listening to that. All right. Love sitting back and hearing some other cats, scratch and claw at each other a little bit on here and not just me. but great radio right there. By the way, that being said, like this is all great. It's all great conversations, and we feel like we know what's really in Joel Embiid's head or what really is going on behind the scenes, but none of us fucking know, right? And that's fine. We don't need to know. Even beat reporters don't know. Nobody knows exactly
this
what the
organization
deal is.
Clueless, Tom.
I'm not even going to do that.
Oh no, Tom. Beat reporters get beat up for trying to know. They get shoved and punched for trying to know.
I would knock your ass out. You bring up somebody dead in my family or my son, I'm laying asses out.
Right.
There's
100%.
respect. No, there's respect in journalism. Right. I don't need a broadcast journalism degree to even tell you the respect that's supposed to come with that. Okay. I can just give you a regular degree and tell you that, which is what I'm doing right now. All right. There's a respect level of the shit. Who are you making $60K a year to be talking about people? I don't even bring up the money. Who the hell are you, period? They think your job that you're given the ability to write whatever you want. That's where I agree with him. I wouldn't even have pushed him. I would have made sure that I had to pay for his medical bills. I got that kind of money. That's what I say. I got that kind of money laying around. I'm going to knock your ass out, right? And I'm not promoting violence at all. But in this situation, I'd probably take a swing. Absolutely. Or it's we're getting the show. You know what I mean? We're going in. Oh, like for Embiid, I might wrestle him around a little bit. Wrestle you around a little bit. Because who was the beat reporter again? Because he's a loser too.
Marcus
Hayes. Marcus Hayes loved this shit. All right, and then he'll act like the nicest guy in the world when he does when he used to fill in on like a Saturday on the dial when nobody was listening. Yeah. Right, and he'd be like, he's trying to be a nice guy in the world. He's a loser, not a clickbait clown. That being said, where do we go from here?
You have to trade him. It's time. I would like poor Maxey too. You got to get rid of him too. I love Maxey.
Stop.
Listen, I love Maxey.
You're trading a 24-year-old?
Tom, I love him.
No, buckets.
No.
You can't say you're going to trade him and you love him at the same time.
It's too easy to rebuild an NBA to do that. It's too easy to rebuild.
No, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, I love him so much. Do you think that he's really going to win here in the next 5 years? You see a reality in which Tyrese Maxey hoists.
Reality? I don't even know what a Sixers reality is.
I think it's so unfair to judge this year with Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
I think it is.
No, I'm not saying his talent.
Like,
I know he's really special.
No. Greg's spot on. This team is not built around Tyrese Maxey.
You started the year with the unknown of Joel and Paul George, right? $200 million, $737, $80 million guys, right? And they didn't play for the first 10 games. Right. And I'm not saying Maxey has done himself any favors this year, right? Because you guys have already talked about how bad he's been in different aspects, and it's absolutely correct. But it's so tough to judge a guy for the rest of his career on this year. Has he been bad this year? Yes. But also at the same time, what else does he have around him, as we've all talked about? Right? So
I'm not judging him off
I'm not saying he's going to be a superstar carrier like Steph, right? But he's a guy that you could definitely build around, and especially when you have him in house. Right, the whole thing with the NBA is they want you to keep your own guys.
No,
right? They trick the system so you can keep your own guys.
I'm not judging him off of this season though.
No.
I get what you're saying. Greg.
I'm smarter than most people. I understand what you're saying. Right? You think that you can get more value back for that, and that helps you start over. I get what you're saying, but you in the history of buckets, in the history of Mikey Buckets, you've never been more wrong. Because at the end of the day, this team is not built around Tyrese Maxey. What
are you getting from Paul George?
Hold the hell on. Hold the phone. Hold 5 phones right now. Put them on hold. Right? Yeah. Mikey Buckets. Hold. I need you to hold. All right? It's important. Now I forget what I was going to say. I'm putting you on hold. But you didn't build a team around him. This team's built around a big man. So
Tom, I get that.
What does a team look like built around Tyrese Maxey?
I hear you. But I'm saying, how can you build a team around Tyrese Maxey? You would have to get rid of Embiid, and you would have to get rid of Paul George. I'm asking you, seriously. You have to get rid of George, and you have to get rid of Embiid. Am I wrong?
I don't know if you have to get rid of George, but you have to get rid of Embiid for sure.
In my mind, but by the time George should be 36 next year.
That's fine.
You got to get
I'm
rid
not
of
worried
George.
about that. I'm not.
You wouldn't have to trade him right away.
You don't have to get rid of him
You
yet.
could trade him within like a 2-year
So
span.
you think a
once his contract
37-year-old
comes
Paul
down.
George is hoisting a Larry O'Brien trophy?
That's not what I said.
We're not sure. We didn't say hoist the Larry O'Brien.
That's not what I
Well,
said.
that's the whole point of building around a dude.
No. We're rebuilding. We're retooling. That's what we're doing here.
Exactly. Which is why
not
as
exactly.
nuts as it sounds. Exactly. If you're retooling,
So what year are we?
You haven't even let me. You haven't even let me tell you. You have not even let me tell you.
What
I
year?
haven't. You're
What
right.
year?
You're right. I'm accountable.
In 3 years, he's 27, Maxey.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's
you
win
say
time.
there's no. You didn't say that he's hosting a Larry O'Brien. So then, okay. So now he's 27, not winning a championship. So now let's go. What? 3 years from there, he's 30.
No. Now you're moving goddamn goalposts all around. All right. Let me
I'm
tell
just
you
asking.
something. No, I know you're asking, but it was a goalpost move, in my opinion. And what we're saying is the next 3 years, we don't expect to win like that. We're redoing it.
So then you're not building around him.
Yeah, you are.
Goodness. Yes, you are. It's a slow burn, Mikey. It's a slow burn.
He's gonna be 34 years old winning an NBA.
No, he's gonna be 27 and ready to win.
So I just asked you that in 3 years.
No,
he's gonna
you
host.
said that, and then you added another 3 on because you moved the goalpost. You went
You
from
said in 3
27
years.
to 32. No. You said 27. You said, oh, we got to win another 3 years from that. That's what you said. And you made him 30. You made him 30 out of nowhere.
But I asked you at 27, will he host a Larry O'Brien? You said, I'm not saying that.
What, at 27 years old?
So
Yes.
he's 27 years old.
Don't worry about it. In 2057, we'll win the NBA
I'm telling you,
championship.
Tom,
and I'll be
He has a
me to say
better
it.
chance. He has a better chance than the unknown coming and winning one.
Yeah, right. If you trade for Tyrese Maxey, you better pray that you even get half of what you get from. It's the same thing we were talking about with AJ Brown. It's like what are you going to get back from Maxey? A ton of picks. If one of those guys is even half as good as Tyrese Maxey, you have to pray for that.
Before.
You have to pray for that. You can't trade him. You cannot trade him. You cannot do it.
You need
and
a boy
especially
in your chamber.
Yeah, and this franchise, out of all of them, could not get away with trading their best guy for more value. They already did that shit. They could not do that again. No one would fall for that shit again. But
here's where I get confused. You guys have all said it. Each of you have said it, that Maxey cannot be your number one guy. And now we're sitting here talking about that we need to build around him. That's where I get confused. Because we all said it. Tom,
you can find your number one guy.
Maxey can't be
I
1A.
believe that. I believe
So then
that.
you're not building around Maxey. You're building around
No, you're not.
your number one guy.
But there's no reason he can still be a.
How do I not
But he
know
doesn't
that?
have to be traded.
Because you don't know that.
Doesn't mean I want to get rid of the guy.
Besides this year,
You can build around Cooper Flag. You can build around Dylan Harper.
I think everybody needs to fucking calm down for a second. Besides this year, with all the shit going on, right? Nobody wants to fucking play. Okay, he hasn't got better, but every year prior to that, he's added something to his game and it's gotten better. He's literally going to the free throw line 12 to 15 times a game to being in an MVP conversation.
Okay. I was going to say, no, he's not, but okay.
Maybe. Because then how much is he average then? Is he averaging 32 a night?
No, I
don't know.
I thought he was saying he was doing that now. It's like, no shit.
No, I'm like, if he grows his game more, who says you don't build around him? He's not good enough. I'm not saying he will. I'm a devil's advocate cat sometimes, right? I'm just asking. I'm more playing that side. He's gotten better every year, so why can't he? We're assuming he can't. So we're going to give up our biggest piece to redo this with, and then we're really unknowns. I'd rather take my chance of a grinder and a culture guy that can build a team around, that actually is a leader and wants to play and wants to be a leader. Not that Joel doesn't want that stuff. I'm just saying, like, a guy that's it's obvious, clear as day here. So why would I not? Brian, you don't even know what a regression is, babe. You tell me he's
listen.
Yeah, he hasn't played good
we did
this year.
We did years and years of drafting, and the only guy we got was Embiid.
I'm getting the Aaron Fox back for Joel Embiid.
Dude, you think Fox and Maxey with that? You want to talk about size and bitch and moan about size? You think Fox and Maxey are winning a championship? Like, you're out of your mind. Like, I love you to death. You're out of your mind.
No, I'm not saying you're just throwing championship around. I don't expect to get the broad street.
That's the goal.
Is it? I don't even know what that feels like. I don't even know what an NBA Finals feels like with the Sixers. Like, that's our goal. Shit, I'm just trying to get. No. Your goals are different than mine right now. I just want to know what a conference final feels like. You all want to worry about
Conference
the NBA.
finals.
Holy shit. I don't even really know what second round really feels like. Like, I don't know what it really feels like.
We're not even gonna know what the play-in round feels like.
Well, that's what I'm talking about with the Maxey stuff. I love Maxey to death. I'm just saying, if you want to win a championship, like Fox and Maxey is not getting it done.
Yeah,
Too
but
small.
all right,
But the
the
traditional,
play
the
Tatum
traditional
and Brown
mindset hasn't worked
in the
for us. So
cup.
why can't the
cooked.
unconventional
I'm
mindset
cooked.
work for us?
I'm like a fucking. I'm like, you
I
don't
didn't
even know
say
where
you.
guys are. No. You don't even know where guys are on the court. So I'm just gonna be faster than you. All right. I tried the size. I tried to be long. Okay. I'm just gonna go be faster than everything you do. So why can't they win?
well, put him
'Cause
aside.
you're going
If
to play a
it's
team
anyone-
that's
I'll tell
slower
you
than
why
everything
keep
you do, like
Tyrese
Luka
Maxey.
and the Mavericks, and they're going to torch you.
You keep Tyrese Maxey because whether it's De'Aaron Fox or a free agent or a guy you draft, whoever the guy is that you want to build
Like
around
what?
to,
Like Jokic
so
is the
you
slowest dude
put
in
him
the
in
league.
there
He
to
just won a
play next to
championship.
Tyrese Maxey. You put him in there to play next to Tyrese Maxey.
So
That's
will
why
you-
you keep Tyrese
You a
Maxey.
copycat buckets? You a follower? Or
do
you
you
a
mean?
leader? I'm asking you a question. You're telling me what everybody else does.
You
I'm
said
asking
fast. You said, how are we going to lose? I said, slow. Slow.
Somebody
Tatum,
They tried.
slow, methodical, champion. Luka, slow, methodical, made the finals last year. Jokic, slow, methodical, champion.
Okay.
Slow. That's how I'll beat you. Size and slow. You can run all you want. You only have the ball for 24 seconds max.
Size and slow has done us well. So I'm gonna say why be a follower?
Well, we have no
Why not-
size.
Hold on. Nobody shot the 3-ball like that until Golden State started doing it. So why can't you be different? Why
You're
you
never gonna
got
be
followed in
Boston or Golden
Joneses?
State. You're
The
never
copycat-
going to be them.
And the GOAT tried to be different. He just
But
picked the guy just got hurt.
The copycat
Did I
doesn't
even
always
mention
work.
Boston or Golden State though? I said Jokic, Doncic. I said Tatum.
said Tatum.
You missed the argument there. You know what I'm saying? You missed the switch. That's what you just missed. You missed my whole argument. My whole argument was that nobody shot the 3-ball until Golden State went and changed the game. So my point to you was, why can't we be the outlier per se and just be a nightmare guard on the perimeter? Like, why can't we be an outlier that we're just that fast? I'm not saying that's the deal I want, buckets and
Fox
I'm
shoots
sold
like
and-
65% from the free throw line. Like I'm telling you, you don't want the Aaron Fox.
You're never going to end up being Golden State or Boston anyway. You're going to spend twice the amount of time trying to copy them as you would be trying to get creative.
I don't want to
know
be
what
them.
I
I'm
wanna
not
be,
saying let's
Slayer.
be
I
them.
don't know who I want to be, Slayer. I just want to be a team that has a chance.
Yeah, and I
Shit.
just think
I wanna be
we're
the
6
team
years
Hank
away from
thought
that.
he was going to build. That's what I want.
Exactly.
I want to be
6 years
Oklahoma
away.
City.
You want to
I think we're
goddamn
7 years away from that. So
Don't
that's
worry,
why I think
fuck
we
it.
just
7
slow down.
years away. I can't.
Bro, how long is
Right.
Paul George on contract for? 4
Boys.
more years?
4 years after this.
Relax. We're going to win the 2057 NBA
And,
championship.
All right,
And,
Embiid
at
just signed an
least we know
extension.
Loot and buckets will still be alive for it.
Embiid just
Inside
signed an
title.
extension for what, 3 years?
Who?
Help me out,
Embiid?
Luke.
Yeah.
Embiid just signed a 3-year extension.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, have fun paying that.
So what?
money
He's here for what? He's here for what? 5 more years? I mean, think about that. This
yeah, I
guy's
believe
played
it's
13 games. This guy's played 13 games this year. He's here for 5 more years. What team is going to want to acquire that? Like you have
Everybody.
Paul George.
There's always
It's
somebody
so
out
sad.
there. You know these
It's-
GMs, man. You
You're
know these
getting nothing.
GMs.
Well,
There's
okay,
always
okay.
somebody out there.
All right.
You're
What
getting
happens if he
nothing.
gets surgery and teams feel like he's 100% go? You think that changes the perception?
It's a big gamble, but I don't think that you're getting much.
No,
in
because I
return.
don't think they have any idea what the hell's going on inside of there anyway.
Yeah, you're not getting anything in return. Is my point.
Uh-oh.
I think
Like-
the best team to get him is a team like Minnesota, who's having like a down year, and I don't really see them getting much better. And then
Yeah, who do you
make
get?
a
Julius
move
Randle
first.
if you're lucky.
No, no. You get a bunch. I want McDaniels. I want Naz Reid, and I want a few picks. I want like all your role players and picks. I'm not getting a star, but I want all your role players and some picks.
All right,
I
so
think that
trade
would-
Embiid,
wait.
get Naz Reid, Jaden McDaniels, and picks. And so we'll have Maxey, Naz Reid, and Jaden McDaniels. That'll be our future.
To build with.
Yeah,
It's not your.
That's what I'm saying.
That's not your team for the next 5 years. It's what you have, which is why going back to last year, I said this before the trade deadline. Don't get cute and don't go C plus on me and get Buddy Hield and all these 1-year rental guys because you're so confident in paying a bunch of guys in the same offseason. I said that. Get guys under contract who are tradable contracts so you can play them now into the play-in and into the playoffs and all that, and then you can have them to trade in the offseason with all the stuff that you have. That's what I said then, and that's what I'll say if we end up trading an Embiid or a Paul George. I don't want a guy on a 1-year deal. I don't want a superstar. I want a Jaden McDaniels. I want a Dante DiVincenzo, a guy who I know will be with me for 3 years. I know exactly what I'm getting out of the guy. I can offload his contract if I want to, if I see an upcoming free agent, and he has value to me. And then if I bring in young players, they're good to play around. That's the way to do it. That's what the Knicks did. Yeah. That's what Minnesota did. That's what all they do. Like, why do we have to be the team that makes the giant A+ move all the time?
Because the method to my madness, this is the last thing I'll say. This is the method to my madness. We've all said Maxey cannot be 1A. He can't be your best guy. But Luke, to your point, you countered that and said, well, you keep Maxey because you get a guy to be that guy and you still have Maxey. I get that. But how many teams are trading a 1A guy? You're not going to get a 1A guy.
No, you're not getting it back. You're not getting it back. You're not getting the 1A guy.
Unless it's out of the draft. So if you get a 1A guy out of the draft, now you have to wait 4 or 5 years for that guy to develop.
But you're not going to be picked high enough to get him out of the draft anyway. You're going to get these role players to pick the guy to trade for. That's what you're doing.
I love Maxey to death.
It keeps you mediocre for that much longer, though. You're not going to be mediocre forever. You can make a move. Daryl Morey and all these. Jimmy Butler requested a trade. He woke up in Miami and he went to sleep. He woke up. He wanted to be on another fucking team. It happens all across the NBA.
Right.
So
and I would
the next
trade,
guy that wants
to
trade
George for him immediately.
And we stack all these guys on good contracts, we can go out and trade for the guy. And then he's playing next to Tyrese Maxey.
I'm saying, but Butler's a great example, but he's 37.
He's one guy.
There's never a stud. Who's the other guy? Beal? Bradley Beal.
Donovan Mitchell could want out. It's the NBA. Guys want out all the freaking time.
Yeah, I hear you, but it's never a 1A. It's always a 1C or like it's always Zach LaVine. It's always a
okay.
It's always
but by trading Tyrese Maxey,
never a star.
You're doing yourself no favor by trading Tyrese Maxey. You're telling the fan base that you're tanking once again with a fan base, with an organization who's already failed on it.
Mike, you still haven't told us your plan. Like, you're trading them for what? What are you trying to get back?
You're going to stink.
Yes, exactly. I'm telling you, it is a process 2.0.
You can't. I'm not buying into that. No one's buying into that.
Nobody's buying into the team right now.
They would if they traded Embiid, guaranteed.
Nobody's buying into anything. You're trading Embiid for nothing. We all just said Maxey can't be the 1A. So who the hell is going to be Maxey, a 36-year-old George?
There's something to look forward to. There's something to be excited about. When Ben Simmons and all those guys were on the same team, no one thought we were going to win a championship. We were excited. And some of those Joel teams early on, they didn't even make the playoffs. But it was like, we'll win 30 games this year. It's exciting. We're building. That's what fans get excited on, like potential, something to look forward to. That's what they look for. That's all they care about. What fans definitely would not look forward to is, hey, remember the guy that we labeled as the franchise and is the most beloved guy amongst all the fans, the only thing that we can all agree on? And we did a whole tribute to him and his family, and he's still 24. We're going to trade him just like we did Michael Carter-Williams and all those other guys, so we can do this whole thing that took us 10 years to fail at. We're going to do it again. Like, no one would buy into that.
Would they do it? Absolutely not. And I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying it's in their best interest. They're not going to do it.
I completely disagree.
But like, he is never winning.
Why? Why is it in their best interest? What are they getting
I just said, is he going to host a Larry O'Brien Trophy?
No, you're not answering my question.
But no, I'm telling you why. And you keep telling me. I just want to know what it is. You're not even letting me answer it. I'm telling you. You just said you're not answering it. I've said, will he host the Larry O'Brien Trophy? You said, I just want to know what a conference finals feels like. That's not the end goal. The end goal is
but this is the answer to that question, though. I have much more confidence. No, Tom, this is the answer. You probably agree with me. I have more confidence at Tyrese Maxey leading us to a championship than trading him and praying for this organization to fucking put the chips in the right place and take us to a place that will win us the championship. Absolutely. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah, like
No doubt in my mind. They can't bring good talent here. They can't do it. And the one time that they did, we have to hold on to it. We can't get rid of it. The one time that they actually drafted someone well. The one time.
Mike, you got to think. You still haven't answered the main question. What are you getting back for Tyrese Maxey in your head?
Okay. I did answer it. You guys just didn't like the answer. Luke didn't like the answer. You are getting a process 2.0. You are getting picks. You are getting a stiff. You're getting Gerald Henderson. You're getting stiffs and you're getting picks and you're just completely blowing it up and you're processing 2.0. That's what you're getting. You might not like the answer, but that's what you're getting because you're not getting much more for George and you're not getting much more for Embiid at this stage in their career.
So what does that do for you? What is two picks? Hold on.
Because
what is 2 picks to a team that's going to be better?
Tom, I want to win a championship.
What do those picks mean?
Tom, I want to win a championship. I don't want to be
2035.
I don't want exactly. I don't want to be
unprotected picks because unprotected picks for a team you're trading Tyrese Maxey to is probably a team that's looking to contend, and that's the piece they're missing. So
you are
when
going to be
when are the picks coming?
Mediocre. Who cares? You're going to be mediocre. You're going to be mediocre until 2030, minimal. You're going to be a mediocre team. Keeping Maxey here and trying to build around him.
I'm not mediocre. I'm a downright train wreck.
Because that's what you're
no. You're going to tell the fans.
You're for the next 5 years.
You're going to tell the fans to buy into that again.
No,
again.
I'm just saying
that would never
Luke, I'm not saying it's gonna happen.
They would have to relocate the team.
I'm not saying it's gonna happen, and they would never do it. I'm totally on your side, but I'm saying they should do it because you're gonna be mediocre for the next 5 or 6 years, and then it will get to the point of blow up and devastation. So save yourself the time and struggle of the 5-6 years of mediocrity and do it again. Nobody's gonna buy into it.
You're wrong.
Yeah, but I'm going to save myself the time of doing that whole process thing again.
When we're barely sniffing 500 for the next 5 years.
You're going to change a guy.
We're not even sniffing 500 now.
Exactly. We talk all about locker rooms. We talk all about locker rooms and chemistry and all those things. We talk about those things. We talk about what does your best player do? How does your best player go about his business? Everybody looks at that. Players you draft look at that. Everybody looks at it. Players you bring in free agency. Everybody looks about what your best player does. So if your best player at 24 years old is a grinder and a nonstop worker, and he's pretty good too, that's a culture changer. So you're changing something that actually represents the city. A guy who grinds, a lunch pail guy. Like that you wanting to do that is my issue. Not the idea behind. If you said the franchise might do it, I would be like, oh, how you're talking about them. You're saying you would, which is crazy to me because of the type of worker and kid he is and the type of guy you would want as one of your faces of the franchise.
I want him to succeed. He's not going to succeed here. He's going to lose year after year. We're going to be talking about how he takes.
It's a lot of assumptions.
I'm so positive. Like we all just said, he can't be the
opposite of positive. This is downright. It's doom and gloom here for you. It's not. You're positive.
Okay, yes or no? Embiid's one of the most talented players we've ever seen in a Sixers uniform.
Yeah,
or just in general.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes or no? He's an MVP.
Yeah.
Not anymore, but he was.
Okay. Sure. We just talked about how bad the organization is. They still didn't win. When he was healthy, when he was battling through injury, they didn't win. So we think a guy, Maxey, who's a step below him, they're going to be able to do that with.
I'm going to tell you why. Again, I'm going to try to explain to you why. You did it that way, and it got you nowhere. So why not build us a damn good basketball team? Why not top to bottom? You're deep, you're strong. It can be different guys, different nights. And you have another player that's at the Maxey level because guess what? You draft one, you get one, you develop one, and it becomes closer and quick. But you have a great roster where you're not tied down by 3 guys. That's what me and Luke are going with this. It's a lot of money out there to actually build a team.
Maxey was drafted in 2020. It is 2025. So you're
Okay.
telling me you have to draft another guy on his level, wait 5 years for him to develop. Maxey will now be 30
you don't
years
have to
old.
draft a guy. You could trade him. You could sign him.
Okay,
There's a whole bunch
I
of
hear
ways.
you.
Yeah.
Okay,
He doesn't have to
but
be some 20-year-old
But we
kid.
all agree he can't be the number one player on a championship team. We've
I don't
all
know
said
that.
it. Okay,
I
but
don't
we
know
don't know
that.
it, but we've all said it. So are you getting a Jokic? Are you getting a Giannis? Are you getting a Doncic?
Who knows
Like,
who you're getting?
Are you getting Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? You're not. Like, these teams aren't trading Anthony Edwards. These teams aren't trading like the top talents. Victor Wembanyama's going nowhere. So it's like you're better off starting over. That's all I'm trying to tell you. They're not going to do it. They would never do it because it's all about putting asses in seats, and that's why Josh
But
Harris is
you
a
are
phony.
starting over.
Yeah, you have a new face to your team.
It's mediocrity. Maxey cannot be the face. We all agreed on it.
We didn't agree on that. You keep saying what we
He's-
agreed on, and I keep
He's not even
telling
going to be
you
an
that's
all-star this
unknown.
year. He's not
What
going to
is
be an
that?
all-star
What
this year.
what the hell does that matter to me?
I'm just telling you, he was an all-star last year. He's not this year. And he's had way more opportunities and way more shots and way more chances than he did last year. Stunk it up. He's stunk it up. He's missing layups, missing games, taking 17 threes a night. He's been awful.
Listen, I think you've had a lot of great points in your time here. Right?
Just telling you.
I think this arguably
Speed
is
it
the
up.
worst.
Speed it up.
This is arguably your worst take. And that's okay. Like, you know what I mean? That's what it's all about. And me and Luke might be totally wrong on what we think and the way we're going about it. And maybe you're totally right. Maybe we're going to look back at this on January 15th and say, Buckets was right. Look back a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. I don't know. Right?
And
I
Right
have
here.
a Penn State. I have a
And
Penn
I'm
State
sitting
take
back
that will piss
wondering
Tom
why we're
off.
arguing about a 15 and 24 basketball team
Yep.
who's going absolutely nowhere. Thanks,
Does the-
Josh
that-
Harris.
That's the problem. They signed Tobias Harris because no one else was out there, and they signed Paul George because no one else was out there. So you're saying let's just build around Maxey. You're getting nobody. Who are you getting? Clint Capella? Yippee. Like, who are you building around this guy? There's nobody. You have to draft. Every team's best players, almost all of them, came through the draft. They traded for Luka on draft night. Jokic drafted. Wembanyama drafted.
And we
Anthony
have
Edwards
picks coming.
drafted. Go back. Jason Tatum drafted. Name it. They all got drafted. We drafted Embiid, and it failed. It failed. Okay? It
But we
failed.
drafted Tyrese Maxey.
Correct.
We drafted
In the
Tyrese Maxey. We
20th
drafted Jared
Yeah.
McCain.
And
20th
he's a
pick.
dog.
20th pick, and we all agree he's not.
Yeah,
not
because the
a stud.
NBA hates us. The NBA is rigged against us. We know this.
So my
Just saying.
point.
We get the number one pick when it's a sissy.
Whatever.
sissy
We're
Ben Simmons.
screwed. Who gives a shit? We're screwed anyway.
That's
what
all
I'm
right.
saying.
We're going to be
We have-
2050.
I love
Maxey so
We
much.
would have the
and I want
picks,
him-
though. You're missing this whole point. We would have picks. Joel is going to get you picks back, and you have your own. Like, you act like the covered bear, and you have extras coming. You have some
I
extra
love
picks. You have
Maxey
the
so
pick from
much.
The Clippers. You have
And then
other
I want
stuff.
him out of this mess. I love Maxey so much. I want him out of here.
Oh,
I
you're really goalposting us now.
want him to.
Matt,
I want him.
you-
I want him to win elsewhere. He's not winning here.
Ow.
He's going to be mediocre for years and
Oh
years
my
and years.
God, now we're winning elsewhere.
telling you.
I can't win you. I can't win you tonight. Now we're winning elsewhere.
Well,
Can't win
maybe
here,
the-
but he's gonna
Maybe
win
the new
elsewhere.
arena in South Philly will fall through and they'll win elsewhere in Camden.
Yeah, the Sixers' new arena can't even get past the second round.
Well, we don't have our own pick for like 1 year, Don.
They made the right choice, though, so I'll
Right?
give them that one.
What, next
Yeah.
year
What,
we have our own
going to
pick?
South, staying in South Philly? Of course.
Saying, yeah.
That would have been ridiculous to go to Market East.
Oh,
Absolutely ridiculous and stupid.
yeah. Credit Roger Goodell. Never thought I would ever say that.
Yeah, I'll actually give him credit on that one.
But yeah. Credit.
Huh? Well,
He was
what did
involved in the mending of the relationship between.
Him and a couple other owners from other sports.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
smack Josh Harris around.
well, that doesn't completely surprise me, and I'll say this:
Good, because it happened.
Well, no. What I'm saying is,
Greg,
I think
real
they're-
quick, can you end the show, Greg? Are you able to end the show?
No.
Okay, I gotta stay.
no. What I was going to say is, when they build that arena, they're going to try to do similar to the projects that they've done in Dallas, that they've done in Atlanta, and they're going to try to build a whole entertainment center, if you will.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, with
It'll be
you know, I
cool.
mean, you already have live casino a few steps away, and I think they're just going to continue to build off of that in that area of the city.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
And
completely agree.
honestly, they're going to
They
try to
already came up with it. They already
Yeah,
came up with like
they're
an
going to try
idea.
to make South Philly a destination.
I know
They
Don's
should.
been
Listen,
waiting
I'm
for it.
putting
That game was still James Franklin's fault, my guy. Just
I'm putting a
Guess you were
bow on
wondering
this
what I
whole
thought.
thing.
No, it's Drew Hour's fault.
I think he's ready.
we could get
Tyrese
into that
Maxey.
right now, but
We won't.
I think Maxey's ready
We
to
started
win.
early. We started early. We're still after midnight. Jesus Christ.
I think
Yeah,
Maxey's ready to win right now as a third option on a team. That's his best thing or second option, but he'll never be the first option. That's just my opinion. And I don't think you're getting a first option on the Sixers that's better than him in the next 6 years, unless it's out of the draft and you have to wait 6 years for him to develop. It could be McCain. Who knows? The guy just got hurt. Like, I'm just saying, I don't think you're going to see a guy be option one ahead of Maxey in the next 6 years. So you get rid of him now. Let him be second, third best elsewhere.
We got
Start
fired
and
up buckets. He's beating
blow
the
this
shit
up.
out of that table.
I'm telling you, blow it up.
Jesus.
You're going to be mediocre for years. You're going to be 500 for years with Maxey. We're seeing it right now. He's taking 17 threes a night, going nowhere. Going nowhere. He can't
You are blowing it up.
blow it up.
But you already are. By doing it this way, you are too.
So it's not fair to him if we both know that he's capable of winning right now.
Guys getting max money. You got to get
Before
goddamn mind.
no, I'm saying before the season started, when we
Hey,
thought
not
Embiid
fair to
was-
you. Hey, you know what's not fair to you? You being a leader of the team. Well, you know what? We're sorry for not being fair enough to you. We're
he
making
shouldn't
you
be the leader of the team. You have an MVP on your team.
He won't be on the team.
Well, he shouldn't be the leader right now, and he is. It's not
nah,
fair.
he'll
to
be
him.
on the team. This conversation won't even matter. He'll be on the team next year anyway.
Who, Embiid?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Josh Harris is not putting asses in seats.
It
and it's not
don't
even
even
about
matter.
winning.
Yeah,
It
they'll get a
doesn't matter.
surgery and they'll sell us on
Yeah.
the surgery. They'll have the doctors come out and do a press conference on the surgery.
New medical staff,
It's the
dude. They
greatest
go in and out.
surgery of all time. Nobody's had a
Yeah.
better surgery than the surgery we just did on Joel Embiid. I tell you, guy's gonna walk around like he's 15 again. All right, really, really lot of.
And he loses another the classic 15 pounds in the summer. He'll lose another 15.
What's worse,
Another 15.
that or Simmons workout videos? You know
Oh
what I
my!
mean?
The Simmons workout videos are worse. Not even close.
Because they really. The problem is they sold us a lot of stuff because he could do everything. He could do everything on the court. He just didn't want to. That's amazing, too. Can't do it around fans. He had the yips. It's a mental game.
Don, don't do all that.
Well, this is Drew Hour's fault. Come on, Luke. You can't throw that.
Okay, I was gonna say it's his fault that they lost the game, but it's James Franklin's fault that he never got any better. And he said after the game how impressed he was with his year 1 to year 2 leap. I'm like, what were you watching? You still lost to Ohio State. You still didn't score in the red zone. You still didn't beat anybody. And it was the same thing. I'm like, what league? What are you talking
I'll agree
about?
with you there. I'll agree with you there.
How about Hackenberg was the same guy for 4 years?
Yeah.
Sean Clifford was the same guy for 4 years. And Drew Aller was the first 5-star, 6'5", big arm, can move. I mean, if he committed anywhere, I said it the other day, right after the game, my gut reaction, and then we can leave. I said the worst decision Drew Aller ever made wasn't throwing the pick. It was committing to our school.
Yeah.
That was the dumbest. That was the dumbest thing he could have ever did. And if he went to Wyoming or anywhere else in the Midwest, or would he be the number 1 pick in the draft right now?
100%.
It wouldn't even be close.
I almost
Josh
wish
Allen,
I almost wish it was him on the yacht. Like I wish it was him, not Bo Perbiola.
If
Right?
you think Aller would have
then
stayed
it would've
home
explained
in his home state of Ohio and went to Ohio State, do you think he would have?
Oh my, he'd be the number 1 pick right now. People will be tanking for him, openly tanking for the guy.
Yeah.
He didn't get any better.
And
they
never developed for
I don't know. I thought that pick late in the Orange Bowl. Aside from that, overall from last year, I thought he made better decisions overall. I thought he turned the ball. He took better care of the football.
He never threw picks. He never threw picks. And I also love developing a quarterback and bringing in, no receivers, and now they're all transferring again, and now they have no one coming in again. So it'll be the same thing
They
again.
got 2 kids coming in on the transfer.
They had a guy who's like from USC who just
Yeah.
bounced and went to Georgia.
Yeah. Oh, did he already bounce?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was still. Yeah. But that's the thing. James Franklin is a wide receivers coach at his core.
Wouldn't know that. Yeah.
And you would never know because our wide receivers are ass.
Yeah, would never know that.
I'm sorry. They don't get them involved. And I understand.
I've never in my life seen a game end without a receiver catching a ball.
Yeah,
I've
and I get
never
like,
seen that happen.
When you have a stud tight end and a stud running game, it's tough to lean on. It's tough to get them involved a lot, right? But they have to be able to get.
They have to catch a few balls,
and you have to be able to involve them a little bit.
Yeah, you got to be able to convert a few third downs when you need them.
You don't play Kent State every game, right?
And they have all these guys coming back, and it's like people are feeling excited. And I just said I am way more looking forward to being 1-19 than even pretending like there's a chance of being 2-18, the infamous record against top 5 teams.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys. I think I might be stating the obvious here, but I think Ohio State absolutely smokes Notre Dame. And I don't even think it's close.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, fellas, I hate to say it, even if we would have beaten Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl, I don't think we would have stood a chance.
Oh, there's no doubt. But
and that's fine, but you got to get there.
Yeah, but it's also the fact that you ended the season even.
It would have been nice to have a shot at them at least.
No, it's not even that. It's just the jury's still out of whether you can beat a good team.
Right.
That's all it was. If they had beaten a good team and lost in the semifinal, I would have felt better. Yeah. But you still somehow went the whole season to this point, and the first time you have to, in a must-win spot against a good team, you have to win it. You couldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just like why should anyone believe?
Right, SMU and Boise State.
I mean, they're a joke.
The only reason they made the playoffs was because it expanded to 12 teams.
Illinois and Minnesota are in the Big Ten. They went like 500, and Illinois was barely even ranked. They're better than those two teams.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I agree. I mean, if you gave Boise State a Big Ten schedule, they're probably not going 10-2 or whatever they finished up as.
Well, you say the same thing about Notre Dame.
Yeah.
They actually had a good schedule this year, though.
Yeah.
It's funny. They beat more teams than Penn State.
They beat
they did, but they also lost to Illinois.
No, but Greg, you can't. Again, that's a goalpost move, right?
It's not a goalpost.
But it is. So I hate Notre Dame, but you can't say they didn't beat anybody when you beat 7 ranked teams.
Yeah.
Can't say it, and then say, oh well, they lost to Kent State. Though that's what I'm saying. Okay, well, you want to talk about the Kent State loss? Talk about the Kent State loss, but don't say they haven't beat anybody. Can't beat 7 ranked teams, and then we're saying they didn't beat anybody. I actually think it's upset city. I think upset city's coming because Ryan Day's a loser. I don't care.
Ooh, you think the Irish? You
don't matter. I won't watch it. I'm not watching anyway, so it don't matter.
I don't know, but
I hate both. I
hate both
Notre
teams.
Dame fans. They gave me the worst experience. I hate them more. They're the most. I despise them now. That was a brutal experience. A lot of Penn State guys were actually wearing like Northern Illinois jerseys.
That's
so
awesome.
Kind of,
Did you go down to Miami for the game?
Yes, I did. Unfortunately, I did.
Yeah.
Well, and what's funny, I don't know because I look back at the TV. I look back at like the TV. I don't know if it like caught it. There was easily like I thought a 65% Penn State attendance. Like it was. It felt like a home game. It really did.
Yeah.
And he still lost.
They also did call one holding call.
Before
one holding call ends that game.
Yeah. Final thoughts. Josh Harris, please free my boy Maxey. I want to see him win, and it's not going to win anything here. He's not going to win nothing here. So get him out. Free him while you can. He's the only good apple we have.
Well, hey, I'm predicting a 2057 NBA championship. Here we go. Only 32 fucking years away.
It'll never happen. All he cares about is asses and seats. That's why Harris never got traded. That's why George will never get traded. We're screwed.
I mean, you're an owner. That's what you're supposed to worry about.
Yep. All he cares about is the money.
Yo, could the same be said for Jerry Jones? There's food for thought.
Yep.
Good night, everybody. We love you. Thanks for joining us. Hit the like, subscribe on your way out. Agree to Disagree Radio. It's been HD Wednesday nights. Let's fucking go Sunday. We're out.
Kind of forgot there was a game.